We are here with Xavier Allard from Cheese Secrets, Niagara on the Lake. Welcome to Right Choice Happenings Media Podcast Room.
Thank you. It's nice. It's a wonderful place. I'm
Thank
impressed.
you. I really, really appreciate you coming up all the way from Niagara on the Lake out here and bringing an amazing spread that I don't even know everything that's here yet.
Lots of good things, my friend. Lots, I promise you.
I can't wait.
Some of it you cheddar try.
I can't wait for the cheese puns. I'm really looking forward to this because I've grown up in Wainfleet. I grew up on a farm next to a dairy farm, dairy farmers. My mom is from the Azores where they make some great dairy products, including butter and cheese. And I can't wait to pick your brain, learn more. I'm sure you got some myths to debunk. I'm sure there's a lot.
There is. When it comes to lactose, there's a lot. When it comes to milk, there's a lot to talk about.
So I'll start off simple. Cheese Secrets is what and where is it? What do you guys do there?
So Cheese Secrets is a cheese shop, a fine food cheese shop. Purveyors of fine food is what we consider ourselves. Mm-hmm. We've got cheesemongers. We got a deli section. We do sandwiches. We now have quite a bit of options on our website. That's something that we've been working on. And even a cheese club subscription box.
Amazing. So you can order right from the website.
Yes.
Delivery
absolutely.
Provided. How far does it go?
Right now up to Hamilton. And then once things pick up, hopefully we can expand up to Toronto. So
nice.
Yeah, we'll see.
All the way down here to Wainfleet
All the way down here to Wainfleet. Yes, I actually have a delivery that I'm going to send or bring them their stuff after this.
Oh,
so
yeah?
Port Colborne, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So how did you get started in this? Is it a family business?
It is a family business. So it started, I would say, back in my teens when we had a farm. We had goats. Nice. So we had around, in our primes, over 12 goats that we were milking twice a day. So we had every breed of goat from Nubians, La Manchas, Saanens, the ones with the short ears, the ones with the loppy ears, and even the myotonic goats, those fainting goats. Those were pretty fun.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we had a couple of them for a little bit.
Do they actually faint or just fall over?
They stiffen up. So it's essentially something in their nervous system that when they get startled or excited, their body stiffens up. It's kind of, it's very interesting. We only had two and it was only for a little bit, but they were very entertaining.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. And so from there, my mom would make goat's milk. So she would the goat's cheese is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, goat's cheese with the goat's milk. And it was just for friends and family because we weren't like certified or mass producing. But from that, I got to learn what worked, what didn't, trying what my mom failed on or like what was turned out totally different than we expected and all that kind of thing. So that's the spark, I would say.
And how long ago was this-ish?
That was around when I was 16, between 16 and 18 before I ended up moving out when I was about 20.
And how old are you now?
I'm 32.
32, okay.
Yeah.
So it's been about 16-ish years.
Yeah, it's been a while. So that's kind of just the spark of what piqued my curiosity for food and cheese. And from there, I worked the restaurant industry. I worked in the Falls. I've worked at Queen's Landing, the Oban Inn, a few different places. And then we saw that, or I gained the experience of garde-manger, doing platters, doing...
what is that word?
Garde-manger.
What's that?
So it translates to keeper of food or guardian of food. So garde-manger. And it's an area in the kitchen that, especially industrial kitchens or like big hotels, they focus on the cold buffets. They make the big batches of cold salad. They make the fruit platters, meat platters, cheese platters, all that kind of stuff. The luncheons, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah, all good.
So that's where I learned a lot. And I was lucky to work with Iris, somebody that was my manager at the time, and she taught me a lot. She was very patient. She taught me how to prep ahead of time, how to organize things properly, the importance of labeling, all those kind of things, and keeping up with the produce in the produce fridge so that everything is fresh. So it taught me that respect for food.
Nice.
So from there, I ended up... with the pastry girl. She was, we got together and we ended up with a child.
Oh, wow. Let's go.
Yeah. So we decided to
work.
Yeah.
A little work fire.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
So that's what got me wanting to do more. And then we found the opportunity with Cheese Secrets. So we jumped on on the train and we
Did you guys create that or buy it?
No, we bought it. So it was a little history about Cheese Secrets that I should talk about.
Yeah.
It started off as DeLuca's Deli. So Chef Tony DeLuca, he's also a chef professor at Niagara College.
Okay.
He started it, I can't remember exactly when, but almost 18 years ago.
Okay.
Where Oast is,
Yeah.
it used to be DeLuca's Deli and an antique shop.
Right there where Oast, that
Exactly,
red
that
barn.
red barn.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's
gotcha.
kind of where Cheese Secrets
Amazing
started.
pizza there, by the way.
Yes, the pizza there is really good.
Amazing.
Yeah, their cup and char.
yeah.
I love it.
Let's
I
go.
love it. I actually had it about 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So yeah, and then from there it went through two different hands. So this group of ladies that bought it, they moved it to Queen Street, I believe, by where Balzac's is in Niagara Lake.
Yeah.
And then from there, Colleen and Eugene, the owners that we bought it from, moved it to Market Street, which is where Cheese Secrets is now.
Gotcha.
So that's who we bought it from in 2018, September 1st. So we're coming on to our seventh year.
Nice.
6
Congratulations.
years. Yeah, so it's pretty good. And we've expanded. We've done a lot of the things we basically set off to do, which was to expand the selection, have more artisan Canadian cheeses as our focus. We have a whole cheese case with any given time, I'd say between 25 and upwards of 40 different Canadian cheeses, depending on the time of year.
Just Canadian?
Just Canadian cheeses, yes. There's a lot. Even Ontario dairies, Quebec dairies, from ocean to ocean, we've got quite a bit. And if there's something people want, we can usually source it. So that's another thing. I love it when people come and ask me what is it that they want, or they're looking for something particular that they saw on TV or they heard about online or that's won awards. And then I bring it in, I learn about it, and that's how I've learned all the
Is that as far
stuff.
as dairy or cheese only?
Mainly cheese, but also dairy products. We have Kefir, we have buffalo milk products, we have
I love this.
Dairy from our local dairies, Hewitt's in Hagersville, and the newest one that we're carrying is Summit Station. So that's another one which we can definitely talk about a bit more of what processes milk go through. So there's pasteurization, there's homogenization, there's also the milk fat, all that fun stuff. So
I don't know if we have enough time to go over everything, but I'm looking forward to this all.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. But so then we basically ended up buying the shop, and it's been a fun ride since. I've really enjoyed what we've done. We've expanded the catering aspect, the events. So, yeah.
So do you guys make any cheese? Or?
We don't make any cheese.
Okay,
so we
gotcha.
source cheeses because making cheese is a big endeavor. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of years before you're really rolling in, the product, or selling the product and rolling in the money that you need to be.
Yeah.
And you have to start big, which is part of the dairy board, the way that it works. Here in Ontario, it's hard to have a small batch cheese factory.
Right.
You need to go big. In Quebec, it's almost half the amount that you need. Like the batch size can be much smaller. So that's why Quebec's artisan cheese scene is a lot more diverse. There's a lot more dairies. You go from little town to little town, you'll find these unique little dairies run by families with their own cows, and where it's truly an artisan product. So,
interesting.
Yeah, that's part of what makes me tick, is knowing more where it's from and having the appreciation of the product and knowing how to enjoy it. And that's part of what we instill at Cheese Secrets, is that love for the food.
I like it. I have a million questions. I'm going to start with something that you brought up from the origin there with goat milk and goat cheese. Mm-hmm. Is goat milk the one that's closest to human milk?
It's one of the three that's closest.
What are the others?
So buffalo milk, buffalo milk would be the closest, because the casein protein is the smallest, and its lactose content is near to none. It's just the way that the milk is. Yeah, near to none.
Is there lactose in human milk?
There is. Lactose is the sugar in milk. It's the form of sugar, like fructose or sucrose. Like it's a form of sugar.
People are allergic to the sugar in milk.
That's exactly it. Their body has a hard time to digest that sugar, but it's also comes down to the proteins, which is actually segues into the A1, A2 milks, which we carry. The Summit Station, which is a certified A2 milk from single source.
Okay, so let me ask you before.
Yeah.
So if I walk into the grocery store, Probably the most prevalent milk around here, I think, would be the bagged seal test.
Nelson's or Lactadia or something like that.
One of those.
Yeah.
Is that anything?
That is A1, most likely. So, and when we're talking about the A1 versus A2,
I feel like this is Wagyu talk now.
Yeah, it's the
it's okay.
It's the genome of the protein. So of the beta casein protein. So you can have A1, A2, A1, A1, A2, A1, and then you can what they've found is anyone that's not A2 is more harmful to your digestive system because cows used to be A2, the heritage breeds. So back 100 years ago. Through selective breeding, through breeding for mass production, through commercial, all that stuff, they've changed the genetic compound of the protein, which is where the A1 came in. And then now there's dairies that are breeding to breed that A2 gene back in, so that's more digestible, so that it's better for your health. So they've noticed after, I'm trying to recall the study correctly, but it's, I believe, after 18 months of drinking only A2 milk, the diabetic test subjects basically were not cured, but basically they ridiculously reduced the insulin or whatever it is that they
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's quite fascinating. And places like Australia and New Zealand have actually recognized that. There was a study back in 2012, and that's when, after the it's called World Health Organization, they had a big
a little closer to you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So the World Health Organization threw a big conference talking about the A1, A2 milks, and after that, New Zealand and Australia basically changed some of their legislations and their laws, and were started breeding and that A2 protein, or that A2 back into it. So now, we're almost 12 years later, or more than 12 years later, Australia and New Zealand have it so that you have to identify if a milk has A1 protein in it.
Really?
So it's the total opposite of here. Here we have specialty dairies that do A2. It's something, a little more higher end, or more, gourmet or health conscious. Where when in Australia and New Zealand, it's the opposite. It's more of a health hazard to have the A1.
Interesting.
So,
because here, I think that the biggest things that I see on milk is the fat percentage.
Yeah.
That's prevalent. And then some may be cognizant of or not is the blue cow, to know that it's Ontario. Milk or not, right? But other than that, that's basically like when you do your glance test at milk, and I don't even know if people know the blue cow or not. I don't know.
Some people do, some people don't, but there's even other things that are more important, like the type of pasteurization, whether it was low temperature pasteurization, which is from 63 degrees for a half hour, and then kind of the low range, high temperature pasteurization, which is 72 for, I believe, a few minutes, and then the high temperature, where they pass it through a tube, where it goes to 92 degrees for, I believe, just a few seconds. And that breaks down the enzymes, breaks down the microflora, the natural probiotics and all that goodness in the milk.
Interesting.
So the 63 degrees method is also known as thermalizing the milk, where in cheesemaking, you have unpasteurized raw milks or raw cheeses.
Is that available to us?
It is available to us. There's a few dairies that do make cheeses with raw milk, mostly in Quebec and in Europe. But there is a few here in Ontario that do it with sheep's milk. So there's ways around the laws, or the different regulations to work around. Back to what we were...
Pasteurizing.
Yeah, pasteurizing.
Yeah.
So, you've got the three different ones. When you do low temperature thermalizing, it doesn't kill off all that goodness. It does make it more safe.
Yeah.
It's okay to pasteurize, but it's how you do it that makes a big difference.
So, what's the most common pasteurization in our grocery stores?
The high temperature, the ultra high,
The
which
ultra
is
high
the
killing
92.
most of everything.
Exactly.
So it's taking a lot of the nutrition out, but it's making it, I'm guessing, longer shelf
Yeah,
life.
the shelf life, it's killing everything in it, essentially making it so that it...
Flavored milk?
Well, that doesn't
Or
necessarily
flavored
change
water, sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily change the flavor, but you can tell the difference between, I think it's Nelson's milk. It's got this almost like caramelizedness to it in the background that if you compare it to, I forget which other brand it is, but even if you compared it to like Summit Station, you would notice it's sweeter, it's more lactic, it's more fresh.
Can we try some of
Yeah,
this
let's
now?
try some.
Yeah, this
Absolutely,
is a
I'd
great
love to.
time too. This is fascinating because growing up in Waynfleet, I was very fortunate to have friends that were on dairy farms, and going over to their farm and being able to drink their raw milk. And it has always been my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, I love
The flavor
raw
is
milk.
better. It's fresher. It's
Fresh.
Yeah, there's more health benefits.
It's creamier because you get the cream, you get all the milk fats, right? Like, I think raw milk. Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
And that's the 2%. That's the 2% Summit Station milk.
Oh yeah. That's
And if you look at the
beautiful.
ingredients, it's just partly skimmed milk, vitamin A, and vitamin D. That's
That
it.
is beautiful.
And it's creamy. It's nice,
It is
and the
creamy.
shelf life is quite decent. And you can tell that it's from cows that were happy. Like I really do believe happy animals make happy food.
That is delicious. Yeah, and with the raw milk, I always loved it. I miss my friends that had the dairy farm. They sold their quota, but it was delicious. But it's always funny because, like, when city slickers see the raw milk in the fridge, they get grossed out because they see it like separating the cream to the top.
That's not necessarily just raw milk. That's what I would say is unhomogenized milk. So
So the difference is...
it's another process that our
let's
milk
go.
goes
Chocolate
through.
milk
Yeah, we're
is
going
like-
chocolate milk.
This is like one of my favorite things.
And it's a very...
Are you going to have any?
I'll have a little bit.
What? Yeah, sounds good.
I'm trying to watch my...
Yeah, me too. But
it's worth it. And the thing is, this is A2 milk.
Thank you.
So your body's going to digest it properly.
what?
Yeah. Isn't that one of the best chocolate milks you ever had?
It might be the best.
Yeah, awesome.
Holy, this is rich. The chocolate. What are they using for their chocolate flavor in this?
I'm not 100% sure, but one thing that they did
Can I have
tell me...
more?
Yeah, absolutely. Help yourself.
Like, the diet is taking a break.
Taking a break
when
for
the
today?
cheese man shows up. With
Absolutely.
dairy and milk and cheese. Holy. I don't know. I'm only using GoPro here to see this, but this is unreal.
Yeah, and if you turn it around, it says some of the information on A2 milk there. So you've got that fine small print there.
So, one thing to know, a really good indicator for a good product is when it's in glass packaging.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
And if you notice too, on the opposite side, it says, please rinse and return. So there's a $2 deposit that's included in the price. When you bring back the jars, we basically give you the $2 and then we bring it back to the dairy and they refill it. They sanitize it and it's way more eco-friendly. Isn't it good?
My mouth is watering as
That's
I drink
awesome.
it. This is Summit's.
Summit Station, yes.
Summit Station.
So they've been a dairy for 75 years. I forget where exactly they came from, but the grandfather of the gentleman that's now running the farm had the choice of going into agriculture, mining, I believe it was trades, like construction, but he chose to get himself a farm.
I'm glad he did.
I'm glad they did too. But for the past year, they've been processing their own milk. And actually, these are their curds. I figured I'd be courteous and bring some.
I love it. I haven't had any cheese curds in a while.
And these ones have been refrigerated. So when it comes to cheese curds, if for the first 2 days or a day and a half, you can leave them on the counter and they'll keep that squeak because when you refrigerate it, it kind of tightens up and it loses that squeak. But you can warm it up, have it in a poutine, and honestly, these are some of the best curds that I've found, or the best curds I've found in Ontario, that compete or compare to the Quebec curds.
Wow.
Like, they're squeaky. They make it properly. They really do.
The flavor on this is nice.
Yeah.
Rich. So what the curds, what's the flavoring in curds?
Curds is essentially just fresh cheddar curds. It's basically just fresh. It's a very fresh cheese. So
And what makes cheddar cheddar?
So it's the cheddaring process, which is where the curds come to the bottom of the vat, and then the whey is drained, and then the curds are salted and flipped onto themselves. So it's essentially, imagine a big pot with this curd on the bottom. You cut it down the middle, and you flip it onto the one that's the opposite side, and then you let it sit there for a bit. It drains more whey. It becomes saltier. And then you repeat the process. You do that a few times. That's the cheddaring process. And then from there, they take those curds and cut it into these cheese curds. And they then either sell the cheese curds or take those curds and press it into a firm cheddar, into a big brick of cheddar, which then could be aged, could be wrapped in cloth, where you have your cloth-bound cheddars, or it could be cryovac, like vacuum sealed, and then aged for multiple years as well. And that's essentially what makes a cheddar. So,
and those curds, like this, there's so many things we're going different ways with I love it. Cottage cheese. Is that anything like that?
So cottage cheese is a very fresh, like extremely fresh and high moisture cheese. It's essentially, there's still whey. That's why it's kind of runny. And they also, some add fresh milk to it so that or cream, so that it's, more liquidy, or like, that yogurt kind of thing.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's what they call a farm cheese, a country cheese, which is where cottage cheese. So it's a very simple recipe, and you don't press. There's no pressing at all. It's just curds in a pot, and then you reduce the whey, and then you add the cream, or you mix it however you want. But it's a small rice-sized curd, which is what you have your cottage cheese.
Kind of like curds, but different.
Kind of. So these curds have gone through the cheddaring process. So they've got all those little curds, or that. So actually, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
This is a good way to go about it.
Yeah.
Cheese is essentially milk that you've added a coagulant to it. So whether you can acidify milk, where you add vinegar or lemon juice, and that's where you get your ricotta. You get, like, it's a smaller curd, and it acidifies the milk.
Versus using rennet.
Versus using rennet.
Okay,
exactly.
Interesting.
So rennet is essentially the enzyme that's found in the calf stomach. There's also vegetable rennet, which is very much highly used. Like, it's used more commonly than animal rennet these days, especially in Canada.
Interesting.
But there is a flavor profile that is added by using animal rennet. So
even just putting a couple drops, because you don't need a lot.
You don't need a lot. And you put that into the milk once it's gone to the temperature you want.
Yeah.
And then you let it sit. And you want it to coagulate and come. So it's the casein, the protein of the milk that is broken down by the rennet enzyme. And it kind of flips inside out, releasing liquid and coming all the proteins and the fats and the lipids and the sugars, the lactose, comes together and makes curd.
Interesting.
And then you're left with whey, which has protein, has some health benefits, but it's mainly water and a little bit of protein.
Looks yellowy.
So, exactly. It looks like yellowy water.
I've made fresh cheese before, so I find this fascinating because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know the science.
So when you coagulate milk with rennet, it becomes very gelatinous almost. And what they do is they would put a spoon, or even some that use their finger, and they lift, and you want it to split. You want the top to just split, like with yogurt. If you ever have like a good quality yogurt, you put your spoon under and you lift, it'll split from where you're lifting.
Right.
So that's what they're looking for. At that point, they take a knife that essentially will go to the bottom of the vat, or sometimes a harp. So imagine like just wires on this square frame, and they'll run that through, cutting the curd. So that will determine how much
That's called a curd. Okay.
Yeah, that's called the curd. So you're cutting the curd to your desired curd size. So whether you want rice grain size or more cheddar size, like you can, whether it's 1 inch, but as you mix that pot of curd and whey, or bring the temperature up, or reduce the amount of whey and add water, which for Gouda, you reduce the amount of whey, you add warm water, reducing the pH. So all these little steps in the process is what makes different cheeses the different cheeses that they are.
So let me cut you off real quick. This is amazing because this is one of the things I want to try and figure out, because there's 100 bajillion different cheeses, dairy products, yogurt, cottage cheese, kefir, butter, and all these things are coming from milk that are just slightly sour cream. I don't know if I said that, just slightly different to get completely different.
Exactly. So it's the presence of different cultures and bacteria. It's how you acidify or age the milk or coagulate turn the caseins inside out and make it into curd or a thicker yogurt, which yogurty. I forget what the name is. I used to know the bacteria used for yogurt, something yogurty.
Right.
But it's the difference in those cultures and how they react or act with the milk. And these cultures break down the milk. So a good example is mesophilic culture, which is very present in Goudas, is a bacteria that eats up the lactose quite quickly at a low temperature. So you don't have to have it at a very high temperature to age. Those are more thermophilic, which is what they use in Italy, which gives more of a funk factor. And all these different cultures instow different nuances. So that's the magic of being a cheesemaker. It's knowing the pH level, the moisture, the ambient bacteria. For example, you can't make Comté anywhere else than in France, in the regions that has that ambient microflora it instills this full meaty flavor and like there's a lot of like a terroir. That's the word. So they're just like different wines have that terroir flavor. You can't make champagne outside of Champagne. Different cheeses have the same thing. So those are AOP protected cheeses.
Gotcha.
And there's different governing bodies, AOP, DOP. But essentially it's the protection of the recipe, of the authenticity of where it's made, how it's made, to keep that high standard. So it's
interesting. And it's interesting you said funk, because like... I don't know if that's a blue cheese or what. Blue cheese is probably blue cheese is probably the most recognized or common funky cheese, I would say.
It's what people think of when they think funk. But
there's a lot
of different types of funk. So actually smell the rind of this and then smell the this blue cheese that we just opened. Parm? That is not a parm. That is a local cheese called Five Brothers. But notice how it's grassy. It's almost woodsy, but this has almost this acidic kind of thing to
funk,
it. It's the funk, but this also has what I would consider a different type of funk that comes from different bacteria.
Yeah.
So blue is Penicillium roqueforti, which is why it was found in the caves of Rockford and has been basically used for quite a long time. And this is actually Rockford Carls, which is one of the first blue cheese that was made in those caves.
This is the OG blue cheese?
This is the OG blue cheese.
Come
so that's
on.
One of the reasons I brought it. So that's what I want to show you here. That's the Appellation d'Origine Protégée, the seal. That little red seal there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can see.
Yeah, it might be a little bit tough, but yeah.
Cool.
Where is that from?
So that one is from France.
France. Yeah. That's where blue cheese was originated.
It's one of the original blue cheeses, yeah. So when you look back at the history, it's hard to pinpoint exactly, but it is one of the first, or most likely the first blue cheese that held a standard of appellation of the AOP.
There's always interesting when you look into histories of things. Like I have the same thing with cup and char pepperoni and other things. When trying to find the origin always gets a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's part of the fun of food is everybody has their story, their version, or their perspective on it, which is part of the, what makes me tick about food.
I love it.
So let's dive in and have a few pieces.
Yeah. Let's go. And what's this wild bread you brought here too? That looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a really good bread. So that bread comes from Hamilton. It's deer grain bread. And honestly, it's the bread that'll ruin you for all other breads. It's a sourdough. It's a 48-hour sourdough. And we've been carrying it for a few months now, and it's had very good feedback.
It looks.
So I figured I'd bring some to show you.
I can't wait to, bro. This is amazing. You want to move in or what?
Hey,
you live here now.
I'd be down. I'll come by. Let's make it a weekly thing.
Let's go.
Cheese parties.
I love it.
So first, I also want you to try the strawberry milk, which does not come from strawberries and is not vegan. Have you seen that meme?
No.
Oh, it's this
vegan milk. That's
it's this person on TikTok that basically is pouring himself some strawberry milk and is saying, "Oh, don't worry, it's vegan because it's strawberry milk." And yeah, it's a silly joke, but it's a really tasty strawberry milk, isn't it?
It's like a milkshake.
Yeah, it's like a milkshake. So
but better.
Yeah, the dairy worked alongside University of Guelph to develop these recipes, and they said that they had like they would give their milk, tell them what they wanted to taste like, and then they'd give them a few different options of samples or like what flavor profiles they could go to, and then from there they did another. They picked their 2 favorites. They kind of made another 5 samples, and then they basically pinpointed these recipes for their chocolate milk and their strawberry milk.
Bro.
Isn't it cool?
I put my phone down out of reach and everything, but I just have to take a little bit because this is
absolutely
unreal. This went through all this testing. Oh yeah. These milks are unreal.
And we haven't tried the coffee one. I figured I'm already pretty caffeinated. If you want to have a little bit, you go for it.
I like it. I'll tell you one thing I'm concerned. I'm a little bit nervous to look at with this.
What?
How much sugar?
I am not 100% sure. That's something I'd have to look into. I'm sure on their website we could get the exact details. They do have, like, it's fully certified. They have their health chart and all that stuff.
I'm sure, like, it's worth the calories, but
it might be. If you want to be safe, stick with the regular milk. Isn't that good?
I haven't had strawberry milk in so long, especially vegan milk like this.
Yeah.
Jokes.
Oh, that's too funny.
This is unreal. Where is Summit House again?
Summit Station
is
sorry. Summit Dairy is in Hamilton. I'm not sure exactly where. I'm terrible. In Hamilton. We'll just say in Hamilton. Yeah. You look it up. It's actually the address might be on the bottle.
It's okay.
It just says Hamilton.
Holy moly.
Isn't that good?
No, it's amazing.
It's amazing. Fantastic.
That's a downplay. And you guys sell this?
Yeah, we sell that. So I pick it up once a week, either on Thursdays or Saturdays. If I go there Saturdays, I pick up curds as well. And then I also go to get the bread from Deer Grain twice a week as well. So Thursdays and Saturdays for the moment at this time.
I can't wait to try that. Yeah. You're blowing my diet out for today, but I'm not even gonna worry.
Don't worry about it. It's good quality food. So that's the thing. If you have cheese that doesn't have artificial milk products, so not your Tex-Mex mix or your brick cheese that you buy for $7 for 300-400 grams, a cheese that's made with 4 simple ingredients: milk, rennet, culture, and time and love, and basically the process. And sometimes you add different stuff to it, but basically it's a simple product.
Yeah,
and it's about how it's produced, how it's treated, how it's aged, and all those nuances in the recipe.
As close to being a whole food as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a thing that's killing a lot of people. Is all the processed foods that we eat.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
The artificial milk products, stuff that's been processed, stuff that's been, broken down and put back together.
Trash.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
trash. Yeah, and like I see it on different pizzas, right? Like one of the things to relate this back to pizza is like over the border, the cheese over there for pizzas seems like it's a much higher quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I don't know what the exact reason is, but I don't know if it's cheaper.
I would assume it's maybe just freshness. It's just the fact that it maybe like there's a lot of Italians in the U.S. where they want that fresh mozz, that good fresh daily made, and mozzarella should be enjoyed. It should be enjoyed fresh within that first week for sure. Where it's still very lactic. It hasn't acidified. It hasn't changed. It's very much just pasta filata. That's what we call fresh cheeses that are stretched and folded. Yeah, mozzarella, when it's good quality mozzarella, there's a difference. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, huge.
And it also depends, I would say, pre-shredding yourself, shredding your cheese yourself makes a huge difference as well. We make a grilled cheese that has 7+ cheeses. I'm going to name them off real quick if you can get them all. Yeah. So there's Gouda, Emmental, Havarti, Raclette, Gruyere, smoked Gouda, and a few different cheddars.
Put on what kind of bread? Put on
Rudolph sourdough bread.
Wow!
And it's a nice come try that. Deli sandwich. Like you'll have to check out some of the pictures on our website and our Instagram. We did really well with our grilled cheeses during the ice wine.
Oh so man,
quite a few grilled cheese were sold.
Unreal! I am definitely coming by to try one of those.
Please do.
Yeah, definitely. So
let's start with a couple of fresh cheeses.
Yes, I love fresh cheese, and that knife you got there is sick.
Thank you. It's a nice knife that unfortunately I can't get anymore, but it's my favorite cheese knife.
Beautiful. So do I put this on?
Here, I'll just try it on its own first.
Okay. So
this
which one is
a triple cream brie called Saint Andre. Very buttery and high fat content, but super creamy and has that little hint of mushroom in the background.
Holy.
But very much compared to butter, and very good on warmed bread, on baguette. And it's a cheese from France. Okay, this brings up one thing too. Mm-hmm. The outer side, is that rind? Yes, so we call that the rind. That's edible. 100%. 90%, most cheeses, you can eat the rind. The only time you don't want to is if you don't like the taste of the rind, or if it's wax or a food-safe glue like Manchegos, for example. There's a small layer of this food glue kind of thing that they brush it with. Because I like the rinds, and once in a while, I don't even know what cheese or whatever. Yeah, I'll notice, this is wax, and then I take the wax off. Exactly. So those are typically Goudas or cheeses that you want to seal in that moisture. So cheddars are sometimes waxed, Goudas and stuff like that as well. You don't want to eat that, obviously. No. It's not going to hurt you, but you don't need to eat it. There's so much good stuff in between the wax. Exactly. So let's go. That was amazing. Yeah, I don't think I can't imagine you brought a bad cheese here. No, most of them are pretty good. These ones are pretty brilliant, I must say. So try this. Do you have every cheese pun? I've got most of them. I would say it gets to the point where some people cannot bear how many I have. As long as I have to work on it sometimes because I can't always recollect the joke. You're hilarious. So this is also a triple cream, but different. So creamy. Creamy and silky, right? So another French brie style cheese from France that's a triple cream. What does triple cream mean? It means they add cream to it, basically. They've added a certain percentage of cream, which brings it to a triple cream. You want to know something that I just figured out within the last few days, month, whatever? I've never really paid attention to when they say milk is skim milk, partly skimmed or whatever. And I don't know if it just clicked. That means that they skimmed the cream off of the milk. Exactly. I never really... It's a reduced fat milk, basically. They've taken off some of the fat that rises to the top. They also... there's fat separators where it kind of does a bit of a centrifuge. The fat rises to the top and goes out, and then they're left with skimmed milk. See, and I don't know why or what, or I never really thought what that meant. And then... I was trying to make butter the other day from some milk. Yeah, no. And I'm it has to be at least about 25% to 35% cream is what you want to use. So you want that high fat content. What happens, because I totally screwed up the butter making process. I tried skimming cream off the top of milk, and then I tried to cheat. At first, I was just shaking it in a jar. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. And I'm like... It takes a while. Yeah, you need to have some strong arms. I'm doing it. And I'm like, how long is this going to take? And I pause after doing it for about 45 seconds. I check Google. And I don't know if it said 15 or 20 minutes. I'm exactly. You got to shake it for that long. You're basically making whipped cream and then bringing it past that point. So then I tried putting it in the blender and it didn't work. Oh. And I don't know if it's because I didn't skim, maybe I got milk with the cream, or if my blender wasn't right. It kind of made maybe a whipped-ish butter, but I don't know. You needed to keep going, buddy. All
Yeah.
you need to do is keep whipping, keep
Yeah.
whipping until whey and buttermilk comes out, basically. But it's you're agitating it to the point where the fat molecules are ripped from the milk, the butter fat milk, basically. So it's even if you had a higher amount of milk per se, like you had a lower percentage of fat in your milk or your cream that you're using, it would simply result in more buttermilk.
Interesting.
Yeah, it would result in less butter, more buttermilk.
Gotcha.
Because the butter is basically the fat of in the milk.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
You just have to keep going, buddy. Just keep going.
Patience.
Patience, exactly. And that's the big thing too with cheese is it doesn't happen overnight. And these recipes were perfected and crafted and changed and for centuries. And it's
art and science mixed together.
Exactly.
It is.
Yeah, that's exactly it, buddy.
Yeah, I love
art
it.
and science put together.
It is.
Yeah.
What more? This is amazing.
So let's go to a goat cheese.
When do we combine it with the bread?
You can combine it with the bread now if you want.
Or I
just figured let's try everything on its own.
Sounds good. I like that.
And then we go from there.
Yeah.
So this is what we called a soft ripened goat cheese. This is Grey Owl. It comes from Quebec. And it's covered in vegetable ash, and it's got a lovely cream line. The center is nice and crumbly and like airy, almost like your typical fresh chev. And it's amazing with honey. That's one of my favorite ways to eat it.
See, it's got tiny bit of little funk, beautifulness, and
notice it's got more acidity. It's almost more lemony. It's got this citrusy, this zestiness to it.
And not knowing anything, from just eating cheese over the years, I'm not shocked it's from Quebec. And things that you're saying are adding up that they have more opportunities for different stuff there. Because when you saying that's a Quebec cheese, I would believe you more than this one. And I don't know where that's from.
Fair enough. Why don't we actually go to these two here since you're talking about mentioning them. These are from PEI. They are two cheddars that is made by Cow's Creamery in PEI, same people who make the ice cream in Niagara on Lake. Yeah, exactly. And this is the 2-year-old.
Okay.
I want you to. You can even pick up the piece of the whole chunk and smell it. I really want you to smell the difference between this one and this one before you eat it. So notice it's
You're
very
like my new best friend.
It's very sweet. It's lactic. That's what happens,
Oh,
your cheddar get to know me.
This one, I'm no connoisseur or anything. Almost smells almost nutty. I don't know.
Yeah, it has. So I would say it smells like when you walk down in a musty cellar or in a cave. So this is a cloth bound cheddar. This is a cryovac aged cheddar.
So I'm gonna try the cryovac.
Yeah,
first.
try that one first.
Yeah,
and you'll notice it's very sweet, very lactic. It has that sharpness. It nips you in the back of the cheeks a little bit. And it has that crunch, which is really nice.
What's that crunch? What is that?
So that's the tyrene crystals and the calcium lactate, which happens with age. So it kind of comes together and creates these little pockets of crystals and extra flavor.
Salt?
It's not necessarily salt. There's I don't want to say too much because I don't know the exact details, but I know that it's tyrene crystals and calcium lactate.
That one is amazing.
And all cheeses are salted. That's another thing to mention. Cheese would be flavorless without salt.
Yeah.
And it also wouldn't. Certain cheeses need salt, like cheddars, need that salt added during the cheddaring process in order to make it a cheddar, so to extract that whey. And
right.
Yeah.
This one is the cloth.
Yes, that's the cloth bound. So you'll notice it's a lot more funky and almost earthy with a little bit of like mineral notes. Word. Mineral notes is another one. And what happens with this one is it's wrapped with cloth. So that's why the outside looks a little funky. It has a little bit of, blemishes, we'd say. And it's just more of a deep flavor of a cheddar.
It does go deeper. I really like it. I like this one better. But I'm trying to think what this would pair with to help.
Potatoes. Have this with potatoes. Have this with a nice glass of a nice vibrant wine.
So, that would be good on potatoes.
Yeah, something that can take that depth of flavor, that mineral notes, that kind of, that depth of flavor, I guess is a good way to put it.
Do you know how long? So this one, 2 years. Do you know how long?
This one, anywhere from about a year to 2 years. So they're aged about the same, but because of the way that they're aged, they turn out ridiculously different. So that's why I brought these two. I wanted to kind of highlight that to you.
This is
Isn't that
amazing.
cool, man?
It's amazing.
Cool. That's why I fucking love cheese. Like the hairs on the back of my neck are up, and it's
it's amazing.
I love talking about food and those intricacies in the flavor and the recipe and and in the social interactions it brings. That's what drives
the
me.
education is amazing too, because like it's key, because it'll help understand everything. Because like most people, I think, you go to the store, you buy whatever, you try it, you like it, or you don't.
Yeah.
But when you have more of an understanding to it all, it definitely gives you more of an appreciation.
Exactly. And that's what at Cheese Secrets we want to do. That, like, I don't want people to walk into our store, pick up a piece of cheese and just walk out. I want you to come in, tell us about what you like. Tell us about what you're looking for. What's your event? We'll have you try a few things, or we'll guide you in a certain direction, and we'll teach you about how to once you bring that product home, how to enjoy it, how to get the most out of it. You're not
cheese
buying a
experts,
piece. Exactly.
Yes.
Cheesemongers,
Yes.
fromagers. That's what we are, and food enthusiasts and advocates for good quality artisan food that is good for your health. That isn't going to mess up your gut like some of these artificial milk products.
So I just a couple weeks ago am back on trying to lose some of this pizza fat. And I've been dialing in my diet.
Yeah.
And I love cheese. I grew up eating cheese, being Portuguese. We eat pork and cheese. That's what we're made of.
Yeah.
And I haven't been eating much cheese. And before we started recording, you said it's a lot of protein, and I know it is. And I haven't. I'm nowhere near yet. I'm only a couple weeks in before I do want to bring cheese back into my life and try and figure out. Like, moderation is not an easy thing for me.
Understandable.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Can I do it? Maybe, but I want to learn more too. Like, which cheeses? Because I'll tell you something I don't want to do, because I've been paying attention more to online to high protein recipes.
Yeah.
Right. And something that I focus on is not just high protein and low cal right now, but something overall growing up on a farm like you're talking about is good stuff. And some of this stuff I see in some of these high protein recipes that these people are making online are using low fat pre-shredded cheese. And when I look at it, I'm like, that's not even cringe. It's not even cheese.
No, it's not. It is modified milk products. There is protein, there is some health, benefit, not benefits, but you'll get some nutrition from it. But it's minute compared to what you'll get from a good quality product that is simply the beauty of milk, but concentrated.
Right.
And that's what cheese in a way is. It's milk sleep to immortality. It's concentrating the goodness of milk into a product that you can travel with throughout history. Here's a cool thing to talk about or to mention. How cheese came about was you could only keep your milk out of refrigeration or, walk around with it for a day or two. By day 3, you had sour milk or, basically coagulated milk and
on its way to kefir.
Exactly. On its way to kefir or sour cream or different things like that. So they then take that and reduce the moisture level, treat it in different ways, depending on the region, depending on what they have at their disposal. And they make their milk in some ways immortal, where it is changing, it is breaking down, but that's not a bad thing because it's just less work for your body to break that down, right?
I love that. And I'm thinking of these things, one of the products that I really love and I can have on doing high protein, low cal is Greek yogurt. Yeah. Super high protein, super high to a low calorie, right? Like, it's unreal. It's one of the highest things, like egg whites, Greek yogurt, chicken breast. Some of these things are like...
I would also say things like hard cheeses like Parmesan and stuff like that would fall in that category.
Yeah. See, I haven't looked yet. I've been avoiding cheeses because I'm on a hardcore cut, but I need to have some in my life, and I want to try and figure out with time which ones...
This is one I would suggest. So this is called Picobello. Okay. It's a aged Gouda style cheese, very firm, high protein because it's so dry and dense. very similar to Parmesan. But this is a Gouda style cheese, so it's sweeter, more nutty. You'll notice almost this caramel notes of like sweetness, very much like warm, fresh, like a glass of warm milk. You know how you get that caramelized sweetness from a glass of fresh of warm milk? That's the kind of caramelizedness that it's the lactic sugars, because the curds are brought to a higher temperature in the cheese making process.
That might be my favorite so far.
Yeah, so picobello might be one that would be a good substitute and a good, take in more protein. And it's a good alternative if you're trying to stay away from pork or different proteins that and it's also about healthy fats. I would also have to say, I'm sure that's something that you might have come across.
So like right now, the diet that I'm focusing on is not a great lifetime diet, in my opinion, because it's not balanced. But the diet I had before was unbalanced too, where I was eating too much fat, too much carbs, too much probably sugar, even though I don't have a sugar tooth. It's just in everything. Yeah. Right? So right now, what I'm doing is not a long, forever term. The principles are good. But having... Just like right now, I'm eating mostly egg whites. Like egg yolks are fantastic. Yeah. It's just the problem right now is I'm focusing on keeping calories low. Yeah.
So you can shred that weight.
So I can burn. I got to get that off.
You want to burn the body calories first.
I went little pivot. Like, I do pizza reviews, obviously. I love food, eat tons of food. And I wanted to see how much fat I had on me. And I went to Toronto to do a DEXA scan. Okay. Because... if you go online to punch in your height, weight, age, whatever, it gives you a guesstimate at your BMI.
Approximate of the average body type and this and that. Yeah.
I have a scale that says something too, but everything I've seen, the best thing to do, I forget if it's DEXA or whatever, but you get a scan. I did DEXA, but I don't know the best way. But DEXA definitely takes into consideration you, right? Okay. Scans you. And it scanned me, and it said I was 32% body fat. Oh, way too high. What was interesting too was told me my muscle. I forget what that was. What was nice was I was above average, which to me I was really happy about because I got a desk job. So, and then it tells you your bone density, which I was in the 91 percentile, which I was happy about because that's pretty good. I consume
good quality calcium.
Yeah, exactly.
Up, that's part of the reason, I bet.
Yeah, and like my diet, even though it was on the higher cal and everything, my bones were getting taken care of. I'm down to try that one too. Yeah,
let's try a little bit of the coffee.
And then the other thing it told me was what my daily calorie intake should be without taking into consideration my exercise, which I do a ton of.
Where's the chocolate milk one?
Chocolate milk one. What is this one?
Perfect. It'll clash less with the coffee.
Sounds good. So just with all of that, what I'm getting at is after I went for the scan, I was super motivated to cut my fat because I knew I was already fat and overweight. I don't know, teetering probably on obese. And like, that's why I'm right now on the cut. But I do not want to eliminate cheese from my life for too long. Yeah. And like, that's why when I'm seeing these recipes online with these shredded bullshit cheeses, it disgusts me. I'm like, I'm not going to make those.
Substitute it for good stuff.
I got to find the right cheese. I have a really good Parm upstairs. I could probably find a better one from you, but if Parm's a good one or that one, I want to find the best protein to calorie cheese, even if it's not exactly ideal, because a good number is if a portion of cheese was 200 calories, it's good if it's 20 grams of protein. Like the 10.
I would say Parm. I don't know exactly, but I believe Parm fits in that.
I hope so.
I'm pretty darn sure it does.
And not
something like picobello would also. It's those dense.
I hope so.
High, like even.
Don't get me too excited.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
No worries.
Because if I can have Parm and like that cheese is unreal.
The picobello.
If that fits into it, because like that's like what this diet tries to get you to do, because I should be having about 2,000 calories a day with 200 grams of protein. So if anything I eat matches that, thank you, we're rocking. What is this?
So this is a black garlic manchego. So
garlic.
Yeah, it's a sheep's milk cheese from Spain that has black garlic in there. And again, a very dense cheese. It's a firmly pressed, higher temperature, very umami and full, brothy. Like, yeah, I love it. This is one of my favorites. I love doing it on an omelet. It brings that depth of flavor, that garlickiness, but not fresh garlic that's spicy. This is like very almost fermented, like caramelized onion notes, that kind of thing. And yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
A delicious one. And we also carry black garlic at the store.
Yeah.
Just
black garlic, super healthy.
Yeah, very.
That's something that's not cheap, but
no, it's not cheap, but it's good.
Yeah, but it's so good. I know. I bought it one time, a jar from my buddy. He's got an organic farm in Welland. Mm-hmm. He made it. I had it for so long because I couldn't find the right way to use it. I went through it, and I love garlic. I eat garlic.
It's a good thing to have in your diet, like on a regular basis.
The best thing that I could find for myself, which is not the best, was just putting it on a piece of bread or toast and just eating it. And because
that's not a bad way to do it. Honestly, I would even say just like the black garlic manchego would be good. Isn't that like a frappuccino, but like in a delicious thick, like the ones you get from the corner store?
If people had this, Starbucks would go out of business.
Exactly.
Who needs Starbucks when you got this?
You put these in the corner stores, like the Starbucks frappuccinos that people get, and the caffeine content in this is more than a medium coffee.
I don't even drink coffee, but this is unreal.
It's delicious. It's yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say I don't drink coffee often. That is all these products. Summit, what are they again?
Summit Station Dairy. Yeah.
They are doing it right there.
They are.
I'm glad you carry that product because that is fantastic.
Thank you. And yeah, if I want to start bringing more of it in, it's just a matter of getting the ball rolling.
Do they have any other milk products? Or
they've got, so this is most of their line. The only one I don't have is their eggnog because, well, it's not eggnog season.
Okay. Amazing. I want to go back to one thing with the shredded cheese.
Absolutely.
Shredded cheese that is in the store. I've heard that they add wood chips or something.
I don't know the exact thing that they add, but yes, there's something in that
it's
it increases. It's dry. It increases the shelf life. I'd be lying if I tried to say what it is, but and I don't think it's sawdust per se, but it's similar. It's definitely not something you'd want too much of in your body. So
I don't.
That's why shredding your own cheese fresh, that it's a good quality piece of cheese to begin with, and then you shred the exact amount you need. You're not going to overuse it. You're not going to, you're going to have more respect for the product as well. That's a big thing to me is respecting and learning about the product and appreciating it at its fullest.
No doubt. I don't buy that stuff. I don't use it. It gets used in some pizzerias, so I consume it.
Yeah.
I don't know which places off the top of my head at all. Or I can't always tell.
There's no ways to know exactly. You could try by the texture of the cheese itself, but it's hard.
Because there's other things. If you're eating just the cheese, I bet it'd be easier to identify, but not when you have it on. There's different doughs, different sauces, different pepperonis, different all kinds of stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's a little side thing that I'm definitely going to be following up with you between myself finding out or if you do, is the cheeses that are best pound for punch protein.
Yeah, so low calorie, high protein.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into that for you, buddy. I'll definitely. I'd love those kind of things. Looking into the details and that research. That's the kind of thing I'm here for. That. That's what your cheesemonger is there for. You come in, you let us know what you want. Sometimes we might say, "Oh, we don't know right now," but we can look into it. That's something that we're already diverse and in that. So with a bit of research, with a few phone calls or looking into it, we can get that info for you. That's what we're here for.
I love it.
That's Cheese Secrets for you.
I love it. I'm going to ask you, well, I got to try this bread.
Yeah, absolutely. So
how
for the
does
bread,
this happen?
I would suggest...
Holy cow, you still have more stuff here.
Sure do.
I think I'm in love. Back from a quick little break. We got everything arranged. We're good to go. I'm not even sure exactly where we left off while we were talking protein to calorie. I'm looking forward to following up with you on that.
Absolutely. I'll look into it.
Because, there's no way I can live my life without cheese.
I'm with you there, man. We can't deprive ourselves of one of the best things
available
to us.
No. And
so let's have a little bit of this really good bread.
Yes, and that's another thing I'm not eating a lot of is bread either. But I love bread. Actually, one of my buddies from Hamilton, they also own a little store out there. It's a Portuguese store, but they have amazing Portuguese breads out there. But he's been telling me about a protein bread that I'm interested in trying at some point.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so what are we doing here?
So this is the triple cream brie, the Délice de Bourgogne, that is on bread. It's a great substitute for butter. It's just butter but better. That's the best way to put it.
Butter but better.
Butter but better, exactly. And you can wash it down with a few grapes if you want.
Oh,
isn't that nice? And the flavor of the bread itself.
Those complement really well. Holy moly. These are two things that I've been going light on for a couple of weeks, and that's
it's a treat. You
carbs
deserve
and
it.
fats. So good. Oh,
a little fresh fruit.
I must say, this is a nice change up from pizza, where going from, as much as I love pizza, but to more whole food side of things with this bread and the cheese versus pizza, which has a lot of processing involved in it.
Yeah.
Solid grape too. I'm not surprised you brought excellent grapes.
Oh yeah, good quality grapes.
That is unreal. What was this bread again?
It's called deer grain bread.
Deer grain.
Deer grain, yeah.
What's deer grain?
It's essentially a bread bakery that started in Hamilton.
That's the name of.
That's the name of the people who make it. I wish I knew a little bit more. I know it's a 48-hour sourdough. I know it's amazing. It's the bread that ruined me. I don't want no more Wonder Bread. No more. Even the sourdough that you get from the grocery store doesn't necessarily compare to this.
That's so good.
Actually, try it with. Actually, let's do the goat's cheese.
Yeah. Slather it on there. Oh
good
yeah.
cheese to crack to the bread ratio right there.
That's
the correct way to do it.
If I had to guess, that's probably 112 calories.
I'm not sure. Maybe a little less.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'd like to think it's under 100.
I don't know, but it's worth it.
I don't know as much as you do about calories and
I've just been
dieting properly, and yeah, you're dialed in, man. I can see it. It's good.
That was nice? Sheep or goat? Sorry,
that one's goat. So notice a very much more acidic, more. It's a higher pH, right?
Holy! I can't wait to have a party and come see you and get
absolutely
some stuff
next
to
party
cater.
You have. Yeah. Let me set you up. Let me take care of the cheese needs.
Yeah, I'm gonna come by to get some stuff because this is gonna elevate my next dinner party.
Absolutely, we could even cater for you. You can, I can come by and make some grilled cheese. I love parties. I love the what food does to bring people together and the experience to be had.
I'll do. You know what I'll do for that is like if I do a dinner party for my friends aren't as bougie as like if I get my brother and his friends.
Fair enough.
I'll get them together for when we do something when you come by because then they're more likely to use you after versus like me and my homies are.
Fair enough. No worries, buddy. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But I think everybody can enjoy cheese. There's a cheese for everybody's budget too. Some of the cheeses are higher end and yes, come with the price point. But I do have decent substitutes that are fairly well priced. And little secret is
little cheese
secret is that we do 10% off our cheeses for our locals. So that's something that not everybody knows, and I don't want everybody to know. But
that's a little.
You come by, you tell us that you're local, and local goes all the way to Hamilton. It's kind of the area that we're already selling our cheese boxes. Yeah, sorry guys, but the thing is, it's
tell me you just moved in. With
we want to give that quality, and we want to bring people in and have the opportunity to teach you how the value of cheese. And that's a big part of it.
Where are you guys in Niagara Lake? Because sadly, I haven't been there yet.
It's 38 Market Street, so in Old Town.
So is Old Town downtown?
Yeah, downtown Niagara Lake, exactly.
If I'm at is it a clock?
Yeah, the clock tower. So if you're standing by the clock tower and you look to the one side and you see the Christmas store. I'm literally right behind the Christmas store, and the street parallel to it.
Okay, and
So behind and over by the courthouse.
that's going to make sense to locals. But one landmark for me that I could find, even
The Angel Inn.
No,
Which one?
Angel Inn is a good spot
Yeah.
though. Last time I was there, I had a lot of fun.
It's a good time.
And I've only been in this spot a couple times, but when I think Niagara on the Lake, I think now Cheese Secrets and Fritters on the Lake.
Yes. So Fritters on the Lake is on the opposite side of the parking lot.
Yeah.
By the Balzacs. You go through the parking lot from there, and I'm on the opposite side.
So couple hundred meters.
Yeah, you could walk. So across from the Fritters place is the bathrooms as well, the nice public facilities.
Yeah.
Literally from there, probably less than 100 steps. You're at Cheese Secrets.
So that is 2 stops for me. It's Fritters on the Lake and Cheese Secrets.
Absolutely.
Fritters on the Lake,
They're
love it.
so good. Honestly, we love it when they come by. We do little trades every once in a while.
Oh, you're so
if we're not
lucky.
too busy, I'll send an employee over there to pick some up, or you'll send them some grilled cheeses, or hot chocolates.
As this bread ruined bread for you, they ruined fritters for me.
Exactly. No other fritter compares. They're so good. I don't know what it is with their recipe. The quality of apple, the batter made fresh every day.
And you're eating it right when
exactly.
It gets made.
It hasn't been sitting. It hasn't. It makes a difference.
I'm sure they're using whole ingredients of some.
Exactly.
It's unreal.
Exactly.
Unreal.
It's wonderful.
I love it. So that's travel tips of Niagara on the Lakes. Is you go Cheese Secrets and Fritters on the Lake. You take a look at the flowers or whatever. Go in the winter, doesn't matter. But
absolutely,
those
it's a cute little winter wonderland during the winter.
Okay, look at this. We're going fruit.
We're going
and
fruit
cheese.
and blue.
Okay.
So this is another triple cream style cheese where they add cream to it. But this is Saint Agur, which is a cheese from France that is a blue cheese, very silky, very creamy, high salt content, but very just decadent. There's a decadence to it, and definitely wash it down with some bread.
Holy moly!
One of my favorite things to do is a apricot. You just open it up like a dried apricot, stuff it with some of that Saint Agur, and then roll that in crushed pecans. Let's just roll the top, like dab it in at the top of it where the cheese is sticking out. Dab that with the pecans, and it's so good. You get that salty crunch. You get that fruitiness. It's a wonderful bite.
That's a good idea. Holy, that's a good one.
It sure is.
Bro, this is unreal spread. When you host a little get together, I'm sure your guests love you too.
Oh yeah, well, we do it all out. Our New Year's a few years ago, I brought the caviar. We ended up getting oysters. We did there was probably over a dozen different types of cheeses. We do it up.
No doubt. This bread is something else too.
And because it's a 48-hour sourdough, it's kind of like with cheese, where the product has been made to a certain level of quality where it's easier for your body to digest, to break down, because of the process that it's gone through.
That's so good.
And that's the beauty of artisan products, right? Is you let the food be what it is and age or leaven properly, like the 48-hour leavening process of this bread. It makes a difference in how you're able to digest it, how you're able to take it in, how you're able to gain the nutrients from it, right?
No, that's not a small loaf. If I bought one of those, I could cut a few slices and freeze it.
Absolutely. Cut a few slices, or even cut the whole thing up, throw it in the freezer in the bag, pull out the slices you need as you need it, and pop them in a toaster frozen, and they'll pop, it'll be like fresh. It's wonderful.
Coming back to the sky.
Yeah, it's such a good product. Oh, the milk, yeah.
Straight milk. I'm going to make some rotations here. Some of the prices on some of this stuff. I know none of this is going to be cheap because it's all good.
Yeah.
So
the bread, it is a $10 loaf.
Yeah.
And it's but
none of the prices I think are going to be unreasonable.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day,
it's going to be cheap. But
no, exactly. It's not what I would say cheap, but it's not what I would say unreasonable.
No, I just shot a video today on price is what you pay, value is what you get. There's no doubt value here. So I wouldn't doubt any of the prices. I've spent more on a loaf of bread that's not as good. So
That's all, yeah, as well. You're missing our bread. So let's try another blue cheese, just since we're on the blues, where we're going through the bolder flavors.
a different blue.
So this is that OG blue that I was talking about.
Oh, this is the OG.
Yeah, so it's called the Rockford Carls.
Okay.
Give that a try.
Thank you.
Oop,
Thank you.
sorry.
It's okay. I'll get it. Okay. So this could be the first blue cheese made.
Absolutely. Like the original recipe. It's very bold. It's peppery. It kicks you in the mouth a little bit. It's a wonderful thing in the best way possible.
Penicillin is, what was that made to cure what again?
It's an antibiotic. I'm pretty sure.
And it was, I forget.
So there's different versions of penicillin. So there's Penicillium roqueforti, Penicillium candidum, Penicillium camembert, and then you have your medical penicillins, which I think basically where the penicillin has developed, bacteria no longer goes in, and that's the what penicillin, like, it's a very strong culture or not bacteria.
I forget the
Culture,
word too.
yeah. But basically, they do make medicine with it. But basically, it's used in cheese where when it's fully inoculated with these, a cheese is inoculated with these cultures. It makes it so that other bacteria, other cultures, other things that you don't want to be into the in the cheese, like bad salmonella, that kind of stuff, it won't take over because it's already inoculated and abundant in penicillin or Penicillium roqueforti, Penicillium candidum, or those different bacteria that are actually healthy for us and protect the cheese.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That one is really good
It's
too.
bold, right?
Very bold. And I'm just thinking now that blue cheese that you get when you go for chicken wings.
Yeah.
That includes chunks of blue cheese, and then I'm guessing like the dressing becomes like maybe mayo or sour cream. Do you know how these are made?
There's a few different recipes. You could use mayo. You can use a combination of mayo and cream cheese. There's a lot of different ways to.
Have you ever made a homemade blue cheese dressing? That would be for chicken wings?
Long time ago.
Yeah?
I've used Stilton and cream. Like, I made almost like a bit of a ranch base, and then you add your blue cheese, and you can also add your blue cheese while you're, like, if you warm up your sauce. I had one coworker that suggested putting a little bit of white chocolate in your blue cheese dip, which would just give it that roundness, that little hint of sweetness that would round off all the bolder flavors.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's a solid.
I got all of them. Oh, it's terrible. But no, we got good olive mix as well, which we make in house. We sell already in containers. We also have a variety of like jarred olives and from Italy, from Spain, Kalamatas, Gordel olives, like big ones, small ones.
I love olives. Grew up on these.
All of them, right?
All of them.
It's too funny. So yeah, it's you try to have the good stuff, you know.
This is amazing. What else? Oh, are you going back? I'll go another one of the OG.
Yeah,
that
sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's
There I
do.
go.
Yeah, you got some there. Perfect.
Yeah. This is solid. The OG. Yeah, because I love blue cheese when I'm eating wings. I'll even dip my pizza. I definitely love dipping celery in it.
Absolutely.
But I know that it's called blue cheese, but I don't know. Definitely I'm going to assume a lot of times that the base or the cream or whatever, the dressing part, is probably processed type stuff.
Yeah, I would say most of the pizza blue cheese dips, unless it's a nice restaurant where they're making it from scratch. There are different places that do, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. But you can even make your own blue cheese dip.
I know. I'd love to try that one time. Because when you use the real cheese, you wouldn't need a lot of it to get the flavor.
Exactly. You don't need a whole bunch. And you can melt some in to the whole sauce and then add a few little chunks so that you can regulate how chunky it is. You can personalize your blue cheese dip.
Yeah.
And know that good ingredients have gone into it. None of that modified sodium or what's it called? Fructose, sucrose, all that shit, basically. You know,
All
it's
that shit.
terrible.
So I want to ask you a couple things, peeling back from this, trying to differentiate the process that makes. Okay, what's the most simple product to turn milk into something? Would it be
I would say the lemon juice or like ricotta, where you're making
cheese?
to make your own. Is that what you mean?
Just okay? Let me just say this: there's butter, cheese, kefir, yogurt, sour cream.
Yeah.
These things, it's like, okay, so like we mentioned, butter is separating the fattiest fat from the cream.
Yeah.
So you get that separated, you got butter.
Yeah.
What is sour cream?
Sour cream is essentially cream that has acidified. So it's
You
the
skim
pH
the
level.
cream off.
You would take the cream and then you would either acidify it with like a little bit of lemon juice or even a little bit of sour cream, like a sour cream that's already been made, introducing the or vinegar, or introducing, but very small amount because you're simply starting the acidification process. You're giving the milk a little kickstart to start to sour in the right way, and that's kind of how you're getting your sour cream.
Because I find sour cream and Greek yogurt share a lot of similarities in flavor and texture.
Yeah.
But when I look at, and I can't say I've looked at sour cream a lot, but it's not high protein, like protein to calorie ratio.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure exactly what goes into it, but it is the presence of different cultures. Like yogurt has yogurt culture in it. I'm pretty sure sour cream is mainly just the acidification of the cream and it thickening a little bit because of that. Kind of like creme fraiche.
Gotcha. So now, something I've never had before is Greek yogurt in Greece. And I've
never either.
Yeah, I've heard that it doesn't even compare to the stuff that we get here. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. My only assumption would be maybe it's like hung to dry, like not dry, but they take out a little bit more of the whey, making it more of the milk fats, milk proteins, and that, concentrated yogurt, basically. That's the only assumption I really have. I wouldn't know.
So what do you think that a lot of these cheesemakers do with their leftover whey?
A lot of them give them to farmers that have pigs or different animals that can take the whey. Some even sell the whey. It's for like whey proteins, where they basically take away all the water out of the whey and they concentrate the protein that is present in whey. Which doesn't have as much sugars. It can become something that's very concentrated and healthy, and then you can use in different things. But in my opinion, that's still more of a modified product. I'd prefer having the nutrient value in the cheese, which goes along with the fats and the other stuff that, in my opinion, a balance of all that is what your body needs. Yeah, right.
I bring it up because like I've made cheese before. And I even know some people have made cheese and they like just throw away the whey.
Yeah.
And like when I've made it, I jar it and then I drink it and I have no idea the nutritional value on it, but I consume whey protein powder.
Yeah.
So I figure this is
it's a decent substitute. Yeah. And you know where it's been. Like you know where it came from. So there's no other additives. So it's you can definitely use your whey from your cheese as your whey protein, or even the base of a milkshake, let's say, or throw in a cup of that, and it'll definitely increase the nutrient value.
Now I'm trying to think. The whey that's left over it's like yellow in color, right?
Yeah. Especially if it's cow's milk. If it's goat's milk, there's no beta carotene. So what makes that color is the beta carotene in the milk.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to think, because if there's leftover whey, the cheese that you've taken away is higher fat. Mm-hmm. It's definitely got proteins in there.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what would be left behind with the whey, as far as it would probably be lower cal since you've removed a lot of the fats.
Yeah.
I don't know how the protein levels are in there. It's there.
I don't know either. It's definitely there because not all the protein gets trapped in the curd.
Yeah.
But I need to educate myself a little bit more. One of the things I want to do is actually go to George Brown and finish my courses to become a maître fromager. There's 6 or 7 in total. New World cheeses, Cheese 101, which I've done, methods of aging cheese and affinage, which is affinage is the fancy way that French people say to take a cheese and age it properly, to wash it, to flip it, to have it in the right conditions. But I have another 4 courses to take, so hopefully once I'll get it done eventually. So one of somebody I admire in the industry is Afram Preston. He was the youngest maître fromager in Ontario, maybe even in Canada. But he's one of the sons of the owners of Cheese Boutique. He's amazing when he has a cheese show where he goes around love for cheese or cheese love affair or something like that. But yeah, my goal is to hopefully know a fraction of what he knows about
Where is
cheese.
he from?
Toronto, Cheese Boutique in Toronto, a great
place.
place.
Have you met him?
I've met him a couple times, and I'm hoping to be in touch soon and do a few things with them in the future.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Going back, because I make my own kefir. Do you consume kefir at all?
I have, yeah. So that's another thing that we used to make from our goat's milk. Back when we had the farm, we would make kefir. So like literally fresh, still warm milk, and we would put it in our kefir pot, jar, and it would start fermenting within 3 days. We'd have this beautiful, thick milk champagne, as they call it, right?
That's what they call it, eh?
Yeah.
See, it's so interesting to me because this is how it kind of developed with me too, because I grew up drinking a ton of milk, exposed at a young age from living in Waynfleet to going to dairy farms and consuming raw milk there and loving it, because learning at a young age, not the depth that you went into of what are the 3 processes called again with the milk?
Oh, the pasteurization, the different types of pasteurization. Yeah.
And learning at a young age, some of the things you touched on, I didn't know there was 3 levels, but how it can go through a process that really kills it.
Yeah.
And then having an appreciation for it, and then learning some of these things young, like you know, making cheese, and then making some yogurt once in a while.
Yeah.
And just recently, within the last year, learning about kefir. And it's interesting because for me, trying to separate drink spoiled milk that tastes sour, and then trying kefir, which is fermented
totally
milk
different,
that it has gone sour, but trying to think in your mind how this is not spoiled milk.
Yeah, exactly. You do need to change your mindset a little bit.
Yeah,
and it's, to me, looking at it as the food has a way to, if treated properly, to start breaking down before it gets into your body to break it down. So in a way, yogurt, kefir is that you allow the milk to break down properly so that your body can break it down more easily.
Yes.
That's the mindset you need, that I find people need to or should see or try to understand a bit more about.
And see, like even myself, this is a whole education component, because if I was blindfolded and tried both a spoiled milk and a kefir, they would both not taste too pleasant.
Yeah, I would agree. I think there'd be nuances within that would
totally. I love kefir, right? But what's made me love it isn't necessarily the taste, even though as I learn more and learn how good it is for me, it makes me like it. If something is healthy, I gain an appreciation for it.
You can learn to acquire the taste.
Exactly.
It's like beer. The first time you tried beer, it was terrible. But, within a few more beers after that and growing up, it's, now
you appreciate
it's a different thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same thing with certain foods.
Totally.
And different cuisines. We could get into all those nuances.
Yeah.
But I think a big factor with your comparison of having spoiled milk compared to kefir, there would be a vileness to the spoiled milk and an undertone of almost like astringent and just tartness and things that shouldn't be in milk.
Yeah.
The milk champagne, the kefir, on the other hand, has this bubbly. Yes, it's acidic. Yes, it's got this different mouthfeel.
Yes.
But it's not extremely astringent. It's just very acidic, very sour.
And yes, so you're completely right. And but it takes some learning to know that, right?
Exactly. It takes trying different things. It takes acquiring a taste, not adjusting your palate, but developing your palate to enjoy that. Educating your palate, yourself as well.
Because what I found too is since I started making it is when it is fresh, it is less pungent than later.
Absolutely.
Because
it gets stronger.
And that's the probiotics getting better. It's getting better for you.
Yeah, more abundant in those probiotics and that acidity and the milk is breaking down that much more, which is, it does come with different flavors, but also major health benefits. Yeah,
and it's super interesting because since I've made it, I make it in batches. I haven't got to a point yet where it spoils, and I don't know when that happens.
I talking from experience.
Yeah,
your kefir technically will never spoil. You'll end up with a mother kefir. Essentially, what you can let's say you forget your jar of kefir in the back of the fridge, which has happened to us on the farm.
Right.
It'll simply continue to ferment and get stronger, and you'll end up with bigger kefir seeds, which is kind of the kefir. Like, I'm assuming you have kefir seeds that you started, and I
started with other kefir.
Is it
kefir or kefir?
Kefir.
Is it all
depends
accepted?
Where you're from. To me, it's all accepted. I personally. It's like my name, Xavier, Javier, as long as you're, to me, it's just pronunciation.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry.
But it's just going to become so concentrated where eventually the fermentation will slow right down, and it'll just be this, like, you have a spoonful. Like, I've had really ridiculously old kefir. It's just very much like a kefir yogurt. It's thick, and it's like bubbly.
What's the oldest kefir you think you've had?
The kefir seeds that we have in our fridge is over a decade old.
No, it's not.
Yeah, right now we still have kefir seeds that we've kept in a jar, and what we would do is take that and put it into fresh milk, and we would develop a new batch.
That's how I make mine.
And that's how So the kefir seeds can die, or basically the ambient bacteria could totally die if it's not kept in the right conditions, but it's got a long life, and as long as it's like a sourdough culture or a sourdough starter. As long as you keep replenishing the sugars and what the culture and the bacteria needs, and you keep replenishing it, and it doesn't,
How do you do that to the mother there?
Essentially, you would either throw a little bit away, add some milk, and let it continue. And it will kind of like a sourdough starter.
You have decade-old kefir?
I'm pretty sure. Yes, I remember seeing. I'd have to check the back of our fridge, but I know that my mother. It's been over a decade, 16 years since we did our.
I need a little.
I'll see what I can do. I've also got kefir that technically expired that we bring home and we still enjoy on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's an organic kefir that we bring into the store, which, we don't keep it on the shelf after it's expired, but I brought it home and honestly eaten it a few months later, and it's fine.
Okay. So now you're bringing up something interesting with best before or dates.
So best before dates when it comes to food. And I recently redid my safe food handling certificate. So this is fresh in my mind. You've got the best before and the expiration date. Expiration dates are for medications or for products that it's the quality of the product, of the nutrient value goes down after it's been basically past that expiration date. So a vitamin might not do, or a medication might not do what it needs to do if it's expired. Food, for example, is a best before. It's a date that the manufacturer puts on their product that is suggested to consume by or around that date. Basically, that the quality that they hold their product to is no longer going to be there.
Starts to diminish after that time, but doesn't mean it's gone bad.
It doesn't mean it's gone bad. And it also, use a bit of common sense. Like is it fermented? Is it what's the moisture level? Is it a cheese? Is there ambient cultures that are protecting it? Is it, like wine and beer, for example, if kept in the right conditions, they can just age and continue getting better.
Yeah.
Whiskey, all that kind of stuff. It's just about knowing the product. Yeah. Knowing the ins and outs of what makes it break down and not letting it get to a point where it's breaking down in the wrong way.
And to play off of this, growing up with always cheese in the house, Portuguese, if cheese ever did go moldy, we would just cut off that piece and still, because that doesn't mean the whole cheese has gone bad.
That's exactly it, 100%. So cheese will develop, like, let's say get invaded by a certain culture. Like we don't keep our blues in the same fridge as our other cheeses. We don't keep our bries in the same fridge as our cheddars, because what will happen is kind of the spores from the brie may drop on a piece of cheddar and start developing this little patch of white. That's not a bad patch of white. It's not going to kill you even if you eat it, but it's not going to taste like that cheddar's supposed to taste.
And it looks...
There's air quotes here for those who can't hear it. It's totally fine to scrape off or cut off moldy or bad parts of a cheese. It's just how deep is that mold going and how much has it changed the product. So a changing product is not a bad thing. It's just, are you okay with how it's changed? Is it changed to a point where you find it unpalatable, but it might still be safe, but it's just unpalatable? Or it's just... Yeah. And I'm no professional. Don't take me as perfect advice or knowing all the ins and outs, but
we're still learning here.
We're still learning. But I'm very confident in the fact that good quality foods where you treat them properly can be good for quite a while and age and ferment, and cheese is one of the coolest things that does that. And
I'm trying to think too. Sour cream, even yogurt for sure, I know is still good after dates. Yeah. But like yogurt, like you can smell when yogurt's gone bad, and or if you see mold on it.
Exactly. It's got that astringent kind of like vile kind of smell or aspect to it. It started breaking down in a bad way. And that comes with signs and flags that, things that happen.
So... shelf life on this milk.
So let's see. What's the expiration date? March 4th. So I brought this in last week. It was probably bottled that week.
Gotcha.
So I'd say it's a good 2 to 3 weeks, 3 weeks or so. But honestly, I've brought that milk home and drank it a week later after the expiration, and it's still fine. Like smell your product, smell it, taste a little bit if you really, if you're not sure, or if it still smells good, but you don't be an idiot and take a big huge gulp right away. But like, do your due diligence. Give it a try. If it doesn't taste right, it's not right. And.
Do you know which pasteurization they do here?
I believe they do the mid-range. It's not the low temperature that takes half an hour.
Definitely not the 90.
I don't think it's, I'm pretty darn sure it's not the high, ultra high temperature. I can confirm that within a week. I'm going there on Saturday, most likely.
Interesting. Or
actually, it might be tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'm not thinking about a schedule right now.
It's all good. So now something that, if you did, and I missed on it because I'm learning a lot here. So we talked about pasteurization, which is essentially heating.
Yes,
right?
Heating up the milk for a certain amount of time.
Homogenized.
So homogenization is essentially a bit of a centrifuge where they agitate the milk to a point where it breaks down the fat molecules, which then the fat no longer rises to the top. Here's the kicker: is when you're breaking down that fat molecule, it releases an enzyme that isn't good for your health. It's harmful. So
homogenized milk is bad.
it's not necessarily bad. It's made so that they can regulate and have your 2%, 1%, and have it so it doesn't separate, and people no longer have the freedom, in my opinion, no longer have the freedom to skim the milk or the cream, and it just makes it a more uniform, consumable product. So for sales and a product, when you're thinking about a good product, it makes sense. But when you look into it, it's not necessarily the best health choice. So we sell whole milk that they make. And it's essentially, you'll have a cap of fat on top if you leave it in the fridge for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you can, scoop that out and
put in coffee
and you've got these globs of milk fat on your coffee, and it's so freaking good.
Yeah.
So, the homogenization is not a very good process, but it makes the product more consistent and more.
Does it lengthen the shelf life?
I think people would argue that it does. I don't think it does.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is raw milk legal in the States? Do you know?
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
I don't think.
I've heard people mention it, but I don't know. I haven't.
Raw milk products are illegal. Are not illegal. Like they are made. And there's like I said, sheep's earlier in the podcast. Sheep's milk dairies that are able to make raw milk cheeses in Ontario, but cow's milk is not allowed to be processed raw. So it's all these little regulations and nuances within the dairy board and the milk acts.
So did we get through the 3 milks that are most like human? Bison? Is it sheep, goat?
Yeah. So buffalo milk, sheep, and goat.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 closest.
Those are the 3 closest. Buffalo being the least lactose. Sheep's milk being a little fattier and having more mineral, more vitamins in it. Goat's milk being a bit more acidic, being a bit more also smaller protein. So we're talking about the casein molecule that's smaller in these 3 milks, which is closer to human milk.
Right. I recently went to a goat farm and tried some raw goat milk, and I found I hadn't had it in forever, and I found that it had a different depth of flavor. It seemed like it was more creamy. I don't know.
And if it was fresh too, that makes a huge freaking difference. Yeah. It is goat's milk from the grocery store has that, let's say, goaty in quotation taste, that farmyard kind of thing. It doesn't mean it's gone bad. But when you have fresh goat's milk, it doesn't have that goatiness. It doesn't have that. It had a depth.
It was a little saltier, maybe.
Yeah, and that's the acidity. That's the fact that goat's milk is naturally higher in higher pH than cow's milk. So it's perceived almost, salty or more tangy on the palate.
So it's a pH level.
It's a pH level thing. And also, just to shoot some facts out there, I mentioned beta carotene, which makes your whey yellow, which is in cow's milk. Goat's milk doesn't have beta carotene in it. The beta carotene is already changed into vitamin A. That's what your body does with beta carotene, like your carrots, it's good for your eyes. It's because the vitamin A in it. So certain milks have less, kind of like a cheese that's been aged or Kefir milk that's been turned into Kefir. It's easier for your body to digest, less steps for your body to break these products down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so now, bro, I don't know how much time you got. We're still doing okay.
Yeah,
here.
We're still doing okay. I'm good to go. I do need to go to the bathroom shortly.
Whenever you need to, we can break again. Yeah, anytime. Something I want to kind of talk about is okay, first of all, if anybody's around anywhere, they know to go to Cheese Secrets Niagara on the Lake because they're going to learn a ton and you have a ton of products to choose from.
Absolutely.
You're in the store. Yeah, of course. You're in the store. Thank you.
Well, whatever you want with it.
Yeah. You're in the store, not always, but often. Who else is there?
I've got... I believe 6 other employees, but there's always somebody there that's knowledgeable. Part of what we do is very much encourage everybody to try whatever comes in and ask questions. And whether my employee knows or not at the time, I'm a phone call away very often. A lot of my cheesemongers have been there for more than a year, or I think I only have one that's less than a year right now. But we make sure that they're confident in the product, and if they don't know, they know to, just say so, and we can always look it up. We can always, look into it, and I have the network and the resources to find out.
There's nothing wrong with not knowing an answer.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with bullshitting your way
Exactly.
through it. So I respect that a ton. So we've got that. If you're local and you're thinking cheese, we're thinking Cheese Secrets, go there, visit your website, give you a call.
Yeah.
But what I want to get on here too, we didn't even talk about this, is some good things for people to know, even though we've covered a lot of stuff. But if you want some people to know some stuff when they're shopping in the grocery store and they're buying milk or cheese, what are some things to be cognizant of?
Look at the ingredients. If it's less than a handful of ingredients, it might be a pretty good product, especially when it comes to dairy. You don't need, dairy doesn't need to be complicated to be a good cheese or a good product. When you have added things like modified sugars or modified milk products or artificial colorings, or fructose, high fructose corn syrup, things like that.
Because cheddar's not actually orange.
Cheddar's not actually orange, yes. But most of the time what colors cheddar is annatto. So if you see annatto as the coloring in on your cheese, it's not a bad thing. Annatto is natural.
Yeah.
Annatto is a natural seed that grows in Brazil that they make an extract out of, and you put a couple drops of that annatto extract into your milk, it'll turn it orange, bright orange. You don't need a lot to make it super bright, and it makes the milk, throughout history we've used it because it makes the milk or the cheese look rich, look like it's higher fat content, or
to help identify it as cheddar.
Right? Or to help identify it as cheddar. What you don't want is those red food colorings or these red 4, that kind of crap in your cheese.
We definitely telling people don't buy pre-shredded cheese unless you're absolutely, for some reason,
unless you need it for some reason. Yeah, exactly. There's no reason to shred your own cheese.
Yeah. Other things like the blue cow that identifies Ontario.
It's a good thing to support local, so supporting a local dairy or, Ontario dairy is definitely something I would suggest. But if you can find something that's even more niche or local, such as, something that's in a glass jar. We've got Hewitt's Dairy in Hagersville. We've got Summit Station. If you're in the Hamilton area and you're able to go to the dairy and pick up your milk, where it's from. You could, see the cows in the barn, there's ways to make the smarter or the better choices, in my opinion, on how you consume your dairy products or the dairy products you end up consuming. There's of course the ease of going to a corner store and buying either Nelson's or one of Lactia or any of those mass-produced milks that are good for sometimes more than 3 months. And it's just because it's been that high temperature pasteurization, and
it's barely milk anymore.
It's still milk, but it's so changed. It's not. It doesn't have the things that were meant to be in there to make it easier to digest, to make it better for you.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, a good way to answer that.
Yeah. No, I like that. This is all. I definitely want another piece of, what was that one that was Gouda Parmi?
Oh, the Picobello.
Yeah, Picobello. Where's that one made again?
Right over here. That one is in the Netherlands, closer to Italy. That's why it's got a bit of an Italian sounding name, but it's still a Gouda. It's still made in the Netherlands.
Yeah, that one. I mean, I like these all, but okay, something. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And I do have 2 more cheeses that we didn't try.
Yeah, let's get to those. Yeah.
So these are local cheeses. And let's start with the goat's milk one. Do you like hickory sticks?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So this is what we call the smoking goat. It comes from Wyoming, Ontario. It's from a dairy called Great Lakes Dairy, and they only do goat's milk. They have their own goat farm. They only process their own goat's milk, and this is one of my personal favorites. And it's smoked with real hickory wood. Like you can tell, it tastes like hickory sticks. It's got this, and you barely get that goatiness from it. You might notice the acidity, the higher pH, but it's not funky because they process their milk within days into cheese, and it makes a huge difference.
You put this on potatoes?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. You put that on potatoes, you'd have a good smoky hickory potatoes. And it would melt quite well, and it would just brighten up your potatoes.
I could only imagine some potatoes with that. A little bit of sour cream.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of cream or
a little bacon on there.
A little bacon, some green chives.
Yeah. You got it made right there. Butter. Good quality butter. That's it. That's all you need.
That's unreal. Where's that one from again?
So Wyoming, Ontario.
Can I try the piece with the rind?
Yes, absolutely. It'll just be a little stronger.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good one too.
Oh, yeah.
Holy range of goodness here.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. There's a cheese for everybody, and that's something that the reason I brought so much different variety of cheeses. I want to show that there's a cheese for everyone. It just because you don't like this one Gouda you tried one time doesn't mean you might not like the other Gouda that has been aged differently or has something else in it or
smoked, spiced,
exactly,
less aged, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So all those things, just because you don't like the one blue cheese you tried or you had a bad blue cheese dip doesn't mean you might not find it.
Doesn't mean you don't like blue cheese.
Exactly.
Yeah, take it easy.
Exactly. So it's trying those different types of cheeses and not just saying, being closed-minded and being like, I don't like this because I had a bad one.
Yeah.
Give it a chance. Try it again. Try it just in a different way. Having a blue cheese, if you don't necessarily like the how strong blue cheese is, try it with honey. That's a great way to do it. So yeah, it's all about playing with it. Your parents say don't play with your food. Fuck no, play with your food, man.
Get in there.
When it comes to cheese, there's a reason we do it on a cheese board. We have a smorgasbord. We have nuts and we have dried fruit and we have a jar of honey. We have some, breads and crackers and olives and different types of jam. It's to combine it in different ways and play around with that sweetness, that acidity, that saltiness, that crunch, that texture, all that. It's fucking awesome, man.
It is. It's
awesome.
What
excites me. It's what I live for, man. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite honey?
Not necessarily. We've had a few different types of honey and producers of honey come through. We always try to carry a good local one.
I like buckwheat honey.
Yeah, buckwheat honey has a nice depth of flavor. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah.
But I'd say at the end of the day, as long as it's not, it's a raw honey, and then over time it starts to crystallize. That's, to me, all that really matters. As long as it's a good quality honey and it hasn't been processed or any shit added to it. That's one thing that's terrible. Don't buy honey from China or that's gone through China. No. Because they usually have added shit to it.
Corn syrup or whatever.
It's
bunch
terrible.
Of junk. Yeah.
It's terrible.
Honey never goes bad, eh?
It doesn't. Real good honey will never go bad.
And actually,
antimicrobial properties.
Tell me what you think about this statement. I heard this from a farmer. Mm-hmm. Not to add honey to my kefir.
I wouldn't until you're ready to eat it.
So instantly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you put it in, mix it, drink it.
Not because if you let it spend too much time, it's going to kill it.
It's going to kill the kefir. Its antimicrobial properties will kill the kefir. Yeah. So here's what you do. You buy some maple syrup from me at Cheese Secrets that comes from my maple shack up in Quebec that my cousin runs.
Nice.
And now you've got good organic maple syrup, a good organic sweetener that is natural, is literally just maple sap that's been boiled down, and that's it.
I like it's organic. Maple syrup actually better than honey myself, but I think honey has maybe more health properties to it.
Maybe I would say probably just because of the more pollen, more natural things that it's exposed to.
Maple syrup's so good.
It's good too. Yeah, absolutely.
Being in Waynfleet here, there's a farmer that sometimes when they do their maple syrup, I don't remember how we end up with it, but we've had a bunch of it What is maple syrup called before it's syrup?
Essentially sap. It's
Just
maple
a
sap. Yeah, it's maple sap.
And we've gotten like jugs and jugs and jugs and jugs of maple sap.
Okay.
And freeze it and then drink it as water.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, it's very hydrating. It's
amazing.
Great. Yeah,
it's water
with a hint of sweetness.
A hint of sweetness and maple flavor. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's quite wonderful. There's a company called Sap or Sap Suckers, I think. Sap Suckers, which is essentially this can of maple sap, and they have different flavors. Like I've seen it out in the natural food section of grocery stores. So yeah, if you have a good source for maple sap, hell yeah, freeze it. As long as I would suggest having it be pasteurized. Just because you don't want any impurities or any contaminants that might have gotten into it to start fermenting or start developing. Because then you could end up with something bad in there that could make you sick. But if you're keeping it frozen, if you're taking care of it properly, the handling of your food is more important than sometimes the processes that it's gone through. The reason we pasteurize, the reason we kill everything present in these products is because companies need to protect themselves against the mishandling of these products. And we can't expect all the consumers to know how to properly handle these products. So it's as a clean slate. They basically just everything needs to be high pasteurizer. Kill all the bacteria. But people aren't as educated as they used to be. Or as in Europe, they've gotten more of a knowledge of what bad food is or what how food ages or develops.
What's your family roots? What nationality?
French Canadian.
Canadian.
Yeah, just pretty much Canadian. Yeah, I don't know my mother was born in Quebec. By the time she was 3 or 4, like in her youth, she came to Ontario. She was the youngest of 6. But I've never done the family tree.
France tends to. Right. Yeah,
I don't know exactly where, to be honest. I haven't done the 21andMe or the genetic testing and stuff. But I have a very French Canadian heritage or pride to me,
like
to myself.
Yeah, I like it. Next up,
so 5 brothers. So I kept this one for last because honestly. It's the cheese that I sell the most of. I cannot keep enough on the shelves. I bought.
This is your number one seller.
Yeah, that's my number one seller. I got 2 wheels in last week. I'm down to less than a quarter.
And a wheel is
this big around and this thick. So it's I believe 4 or 5 kilos.
What's it called?
Ones. 5 brothers. So it's a Gouda Appenzeller style cheese. Gouda being the fact that the milk is brought to a higher temperature. Appenzeller in the way that it's aged. So it's like a Gouda cheese that's been treated like a Swiss cheese or a Swiss Appenzeller style cheese, which develops a rind. It's aged on cedar wood planks. It's aged for a total of 8 months. And during those 8 months, it's washed 2 to 4 times a week. So washing means they allow the bacteria or the bloom to happen. So you'll get these kind of mold looking spots all around your wheel. And then you give it a wash with a salt brine. And then it evens out that rind, that development of the rind, of that crust, which is the rind. And there's so much flavor in the rind, especially with washed rind style cheeses. As a rule of thumb, when you chew on rind, sip some wine. It's a great way to. So the flavor is concentrated.
Wine, baby.
Exactly, that's the way to do it. But it's the concentration of the culture and the bacteria and the ambient microflora in the rind that instills the flavor in most cheeses. Something like Comté, for example, it's you can't replicate that floral, grassy. French meadow kind of essence anywhere else. And Comté is a great example of that.
Interesting. Yeah. Can I have another piece?
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Yeah, I should give you the knife and let you help yourself.
Yeah. I like how
cut it all up. Because this is, like I said, one of my best-selling cheeses.
Where are they?
Woodstock, Ontario. So the cheesemaker, Shep, he's one of 5 brothers, went to Switzerland for 2 years, really perfected his craft, learned a lot about those Appenzeller Swiss-style cheeses, came back, they had a family dairy, and he basically turned a family dairy into a family dairy and cheese factory. and he's been kicking ass in the cheese world. Honestly, he's got many awards for this cheese. Cheese of the year, being like grand champion out of all the cheeses in what do they call it? There's a Canadian Cheese Association where they have these competitions, or they judge the different cheeses. They at the Royal Winter Fair as well. They've won a lot of different awards.
Have you ever gone to that?
Yeah, I used to. One of my goals was to actually show goats. So I did 4-H growing up. That's something that gave me that appreciation for the farm life and the quality of your stock and breeding for good production. But at the same time, that's what helped me grow up learning and appreciating food as much as I did, and the farm life. And then what I like is from stock to table, and then the like from the livestock, from the product itself, or the animal itself, to how it's treated, to the whole process, to how it's processed, to how it's sold, to how it's consumed, to the family emotions and the gathering that comes with it. That whole circle is what makes me tick. Like that's a big part of what I just love about all this.
I love it all.
Thank you.
We haven't talked about, and this one you didn't bring in.
Yes, the butter.
But butter. And Kerry
Good quality butter.
So that butter, to me, that one's from Ireland. It is very similar to my other favorite butter, which is butter that's from the Azores. Like my mom's from the Azores, Pico Island, and their butter out there is very similar to this one. So like to me, I don't eat a ton of butter. Again, calorie thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like when I go for that, I tend to be more on the olive oil train.
Fair enough.
What's
olive oil? That's the picobello.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think your new favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm battling between all of them, but this one, might be the fave. Kerrygold, comparing it to other butter in the stores, is like having butter and having not butter.
Yeah.
It's night and day.
It's the quality, right?
And like you guys carry one that I'm sure is a high quality too. And I don't know what they're doing to store butter, but it sounds like they might be doing a pasteurization or something to remove all the goodness.
Butter itself, because it's such a high fat content, it doesn't need much processing. But like any products, if you don't start with a good high quality product, you're not gonna, your end result or your end product isn't gonna be, of that standard. So, the cows that produce the milk for this butter most likely were more grass-fed. You can tell by the fact that it's got more of an orangey color. It had more of a pasture-fed diet rather than a hay-fed diet. From season to season, you can tell the difference in the color of the milk. It's more rich and golden color when the cows are freshly on pasture, or when they've had a good
good juice.
Yeah, exactly. Good quality grass makes good quality milk. So it's following that whole process, right?
So Guernsey milk or Guernsey cows. Guernsey.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
So Guernsey cows are one of the heritage breeds that are known for their A2 milk. And they're also known for their higher fat content. Similar to where for goats, you have your Saanens, which are your white goats with the pointy, the upright ears. They produce a shit ton of milk. Lower fat content, like butter fat content, but the volume is there. That's kind of like your Holsteins, your black and white cows that produce a shit ton of milk. Right. And then you have your Nubians per se, which are the ones with the floppy ears. They're a little bit bulkier. That would be more like your Guernsey cows, where they produce a higher butter fat, more of a rich, dense, not necessarily dense, but like it's got more in the milk.
So a Guernsey cow is going to produce a good quality.
As long as it's eating good quality grass or a good quality diet.
There, as far as I know, there is one Guernsey farm in Niagara.
Upper Canada Cheese Company.
That's the one. Yeah. But that's rare, right? There's not a lot of those.
And I don't think they sell their milk. I think they just make cheese with their milk. So that was one of the cheeses I was going to bring, but Unfortunately, I didn't have any left. We sold out. But the Niagara Gold, the Nosy Goat, Jordan Station Maple Smoked, and then they have Comfort Cream, Guernsey Girl, which I think is their frying halloumi kind of style. But we carry most of their cheeses as well.
Because I think I told you, and I'm pretty sure that's the cheese subscription I signed up for because I wanted to try it, and I'm lazy and don't get out that way often.
Yeah.
So you have a cheese subscription that I want to talk about more than that one.
I'd love to.
Yes.
After a little break, if that's okay.
Break time.
Yeah,
I love
break
it.
time. And then I'll come back and I'll talk about the box.
I like it.
Awesome.
Okay, back from break.
Yeah, back from a quick break. Thank you.
No problem. I love it. I love it. I just asked you, I want to know about this because if I'm going to subscribe to a cheese box, I'd rather subscribe to you.
Fair enough.
Even though the one I tried, the one that Upper Canada, they're probably
very
put them in
good.
there.
Yeah. So
and you probably put them in.
We've had actually our first subscription box. We used Upper Canada Cheese Company's Niagara Gold. So we did Niagara Gold, Five Brothers. There was another one as well. So our cheese box will have between 2 to 3 cheeses or 2 to 4 cheeses, depending on the type, depending on the price point, and accompanied with anywhere from 2 to 3 accoutrements or accompaniments. So the one that we had for the month of February, might as well show everybody. So it also comes with a lot of info. So you open up your box.
Oh, wow.
Comes like this. You've got your list of what you essentially got. Sorry, here, let's do this.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can see what I'm doing and still talk.
Beautiful.
Okay, perfect. So we'll have about the cheese, the different wines and things that pair well with it. And then we'll mention which cheeses. So this time it's from the Burgundy region of France. It's the Fromagerie Délices de Bourgogne. A little spiel on what it is, the pairings, what it's good with. And then we got the second one, which is, in this case, Fleurs du Vignoble, translates to flowers of the vineyard. And it's a cheese that has 4 different types of flowers on it: safflower, cornflower, rose petals, and marigolds, I believe. So very floral. So we went kind of like a, Valentine's Day kind of theme where it's got chocolate, it's got a nice silky, creamy brie, and something that's very floral, very effervescent, and great with the champagne. Absolutely.
Yes, this looks beautiful. Nice packaging on this.
Absolutely. And then it also comes with a discount card that this month, it's for our website. Last month it was for in-store purchase. And it's just to basically give you an understanding and to give you a variety of stuff every single month to learn about cheeses. And like I said, this is one of this is the first box that we did 2 cheeses, but these are 2 very high-end cheeses from France. So,
That's
more of a
beautiful.
special treat with a nice fancy chocolate from Spain.
Oh, Spain.
So
Nice.
this is kind of a bit of a European romance kind of box.
February style.
Yeah. So next month, we're within a week from when we deliver the boxes, we usually try to figure out what we're going to do for the next month. And then on our Instagram and Facebook, we will post a video explaining what to expect in your box as well.
So when somebody signs up for that monthly,
Yes. So you can do a 1 month, a 3 month, or a 6 month. And then you have a renewal option as well.
gotcha. That sounds good.
Yeah.
That's something I'll have to consider treating myself to, or like myself. I would crush that whole thing. So I need to have
Fair
somebody that I can share it with so that I cut it down. But that looks
understandable.
like amazing.
So it's a $50 monthly subscription, and that includes the delivery in the future.
Includes delivery.
Includes delivery, yes, and the entirety of Niagara up to about Hamilton. After Hamilton, we're in the first 2 months of doing this. We started in November. Only had a couple boxes that we went out for November, but it's picking up pretty quickly. So if it gets to the point where we can start offering it past Hamilton, we definitely will. We just got to figure out logistics. Yeah, logistics. Sure. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Do you know yet what's going to be in March's box or not yet?
Not yet. That's something that we'll probably be talking about in tonight's meeting. Yeah. So every Wednesday we have a bit of a meeting with the the management team, my mother and I, and our projects manager, who keeps us on track. And she also takes care of our social media. She's the one that sent you our logo.
Yeah.
And then we have our handful of team members that help us run the store.
Hours of operation?
10 to 6 most days. On holidays and on weekends, especially during the busy like summer days and even Ice Wine Festival, we stayed open till about 8. So consistently 10 to 6.
Sunday, Monday?
Yeah, every day of the week.
Open
Sunday,
7
Monday,
days a week?
yeah, 7 days a week. Sunday, Monday, sometimes we'll close a little early. Of course, if the weather's terrible, like the past few days, we've had some terrible weather, so we did close early on last Sunday. But yeah, for the most part, 10 to 6 every single day.
And you're there a lot.
I'm there. I pop in every day for sure. But then there's some days where I'm there for the whole darn day. Some days I'm running around going to get some cheese from Hamilton, or going getting the bread, or doing some work on the farm. We have a small farm property on Hunter Road where we have chickens, and we used to have a couple goats, but now so depending on the time of year, sometimes I'm busy doing other things.
I want to bring up something too, a little bit of a pivot. The first time I seen you was on TikTok.
Yes.
You were doing, I don't think you're doing as much, or you definitely had some videos that got a lot of attention.
Yes. So I was one of the first, probably back 6 or 5 years ago when TikTok first, took off. It was so easy to get traction, to get views and stuff. I was one of the first people who ever posted the black cheese, the black lemon on TikTok, and that got me pretty good views. So unfortunately, after our Instagram got hacked, we had to give up our original Instagram, which was over 3,000 followers. Now we've got a new one, so we're only at about 1,500. But it's it really dulled the whole thing of posting on social for me, and that's why it slowed down. I'm getting back into it, and now that we have a manager for that helps us out, Esther. It's taken that task off my shoulders, so I've got to get back into it with the TikTok.
Now I'm going to help you a little bit.
Yeah,
because I haven't looked totally, but at what you've done. But I know that you first got my attention through TikTok. I remember the black cheese. I don't remember what kind of cheese. I think you did the scraping of some melting cheese.
Yes, the raclette.
Yeah, and that's what first got my attention. And even since then, this shows you how little I go to Niagara on the Lake.
Yeah.
I've wanted to come out to the shop, and that's how I first discovered you, which is sweet. And I put a ton of effort into creating content and posting online.
Yeah.
Even though my passion is not social media or being in the spotlight, but running a business, it's essential.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to share with you some stuff, not knowing a lot about what's going on, other than this is my impression, and I could be wrong. I seen you were blowing up before, and now when I look, I don't think you're posting as often. So I want to share. So you shared a ton of info with me. I want to share some.
I'd love to hear about it.
Okay. You have a ton of knowledge. You're smart, and you have great products. So there's no shortage of content ideas. Zero. So the biggest thing with content creation, which is not a quick solution to building your business, but if you're only 32, you said, I imagine you plan on being in business for longer than a couple years.
Absolutely.
It doesn't seem like you're a fly-by-night guy, that this is going to be something for a long time. So you're probably thinking not just about how you're going to make some money today, but probably about creating a lifetime business, right?
A cheesy legacy.
Yes, I like it. So I'm going to share with you things to help you with that. And I hope that maybe if it's, I'm not going to get over into it, but if it's too much, you can always watch back on the podcast. Yeah. But number one most important thing with content creation is consistency. Number one. It outperforms editing, quick cuts, having the best personality on the planet, having the best anything. You show up at whatever schedule you decide to do, and you're going to grow. It's going to happen. That's the number one. And it's the number one thing people have a problem with. It's the same thing as people with their diets or going to the gym or anything.
Sticking
Consistency. To it. So at some point, I would recommend figuring out a plan that you can stick to, and then you can build from. When I started, it was creating a piece of content once a week.
Okay.
And when I first started, that was Must See Mondays. I did a video in Niagara where I would go to a restaurant and highlight the foods.
I think I remember the Must See Mondays. Yes.
Do you?
Yeah, I started following it pretty early.
Really?
So, yeah.
Interesting. So like that Mondays, right? So it was always on a Monday, and that was my schedule. And like from there, I built out to where now I'm doing 4 pizza reviews a week. And I like to, and I'm nowhere near consistent with this piece of content, podcasting. But I've made the cognizant effort now that I want to do 1 a month. So that's where I'm at, because I can build from there. But doing anything less is crazy if I'm going to commit to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And doing more is a challenge, but consistency. So if you're going to, you're one of the owners of the company.
Yes. Yeah. My mother and I, essentially.
Yeah. So you have a media person that's amazing.
Yeah.
And there's nobody that's going to do and has to be part of that is as valuable as you. You have somebody, but you have to be kind of the head of that, however you do it.
Yeah.
When I seen and like talking to you now, you would be great to be the subject of the content, but you can figure out how you want to do it, whatever. I think the best suggestion would be you being the face of the company.
Yeah, which is kind of what we're trying, but yeah, it's easier said than done sometimes. But it's about that consistency, like you said.
Consistency number one. So at some point when you're ready to commit to it, I would do that and not miss whatever.
Miss out on it. Yeah,
if you decide I'm going to be posting every Monday at 8 a.m., you don't miss it.
Yeah.
And how you don't miss it, you create a few pieces of content before, you have a hopper, and that way if for some reason you film on Sunday, let's say, because you forgot to do your homework and you're scrambling to have it ready for Monday morning, you don't just wait till Sunday to post it. You make a couple. So that way, if for some reason come Sunday, you're off, you have a hopper. Like when I do my pizza reviews, I film 12 at a time.
Oh, okay.
So like I have content for the next month, right?
Yeah.
Once you get into a rhythm with that, I would highly suggest to having at least minimum 1 story a day.
Okay.
Because when you post a story, it's good for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram, Meta, it's the same thing. So you can share, so you get the double platform whammy. So you make sure they're connected, and you at least do 1 story a day. It is impossible not to be able to create a story a day.
Yeah, it can be quick. Just like you did. You did what 3 bits just now with the pictures. I should be doing that too. Yeah,
exactly. And like for like content ideas for your daily story, it could be as simple as posting a picture and or something of your hours of the day, even if they're the same all the time, or if you're thinking you might close early. Or if you want to highlight one product, it could be a picture, it could be a video, it could be one or the other. But there should never be a time where you don't have a story. Like when people open up Instagram,
you want to be on that top bar.
Prime real estate.
I see what you mean.
Prime real estate.
Okay.
That's the number one thing. To build from there, like at any time, I'm always happy to share from there. But like, I think there's different pieces of content, different angles. One of them is educational. Right. One of the angles that the 3 biggest ones are like educational. Other one is health. And I think like love. I think those are the big 3, and maybe entertainment or whatever, but you definitely have a ton of educational.
Yeah.
And you can really play into that. And something that I do too, just to get into a little bit more, I don't do a lot of hard selling in my stuff.
Yeah.
Pizza reviews has nothing to do with real estate.
No,
nothing.
It gets people engaged.
Scaling brand awareness, building conversations, building relationships, all that stuff. Nothing wrong with doing hard sales, but if that's all you do,
it becomes pitchy. It becomes people don't want to spend time watching your content because it's always an ask.
Yeah, exactly.
It needs to be a give too.
Give. You have so
Gary
much
V,
to give.
the left, right.
Jab, hook.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, when I was into the whole content and before we got hacked, I was also consuming a lot of Gary V's content.
V knows a ton.
He's it's the coolest shit, honestly. He's what got me so excited and on the engagement that we can get. off of TikTok, off of all these platforms. I'll admit I lost my spark when it came to the getting hacked and losing all that,
That
2 years of
sucks.
effort. And then, yeah, but I got to get back on that train. You're totally right.
Yeah, I really hope you do, because you have so much knowledge, so much goodness, endless content abilities. It's almost, maybe to me, it could almost be overwhelming, but
Yeah.
it could be. And I can help with that at any time. I'm more than happy. And not even like, I think that I definitely am above average, especially for Niagara, for understanding all this stuff. But it doesn't mean that
you were one of the first that really hit the consistency, that hit the, give, and then ask a small ask, to where you talk about a little bit of your real estate stuff.
Once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. And you just engage people. And there's so many people that just know your face, but don't know what you do.
Exactly.
But it's okay, because at least when they realize what you do, you're already familiar.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's part of it, a big part of it.
Exactly. You're onto it. And Gary Vee is an inspiration of mine for sure.
Yeah.
I just watched yesterday. It's been a while, some of his content, but yeah, you can definitely give so much. And I don't know, like in all of the stuff I watch, it's not like I consume cheese stuff, but I haven't come across, and I know they're out there, but cheese masters of creating content. And you definitely have an opportunity.
There's some, honestly, here's one, Cheese Sex Death. She's amazing. She's in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
But she has this cool twist of almost gothic with a sexual attraction to it. Like she makes cheese sexy.
Oh, nice.
It's honestly really cool. If you have a chance to
What's
check
her name?
Cheese Sex Death. I forget her name. But you look up Cheese Sex Death. She's got kick-ass content.
So I don't know at what point content gets back into your life, but I want to see it happen, because I'm going to be around here until I die.
Yeah.
I feel like you're probably on a similar path.
On the same level, yeah.
So we're going to be crossing paths a lot of times, and I want to see you succeed a lot, because you have so much potential, like tons, like
Thank you, yeah.
and like you're on the right path, and being able to fuel the fire with creating content will help you be at the forefront of being like I don't know the right terms, but cheese master.
Yeah, being the cheese master of Niagara, being the cheese guy of Niagara, being at the forefront of people's mind when
Niagara
they think
and beyond.
of their cheese needs. I want them to think cheese secrets.
Yes.
I need some kind of thing regarding food or fine food and cheese secrets.
Exactly. And
That's
like
the
you
secret.
can do that.
Yeah.
And like the fact that you're in Niagara on the Lake, the placement is perfect, because this all fits Niagara on the Lake a lot more than if you were in Fort Erie, Port Colborne, Wingfleet-ish, but Niagara on the Lake is the spot.
Yeah.
You guys are bougie out there.
Yeah,
you guys
we got the
your
wines.
Stuff. Yeah.
We got the the distilleries as well, and then
all of it.
Yeah, it's all growing.
Yeah, that's all aligned. Amazing.
Yeah.
So I really hope at some point that you find a groove with that. And like I said, beyond this, I'm more than happy to help anytime. Text,
I think that'd
call.
be fun. Maybe we do some content together, or
anything.
Like even this. I'm hoping to be able to take a few audio clips of me passionate and talking about what we do. Like I haven't had the opportunity to capture these kind of conversations or these moments, because it's always between me and a customer, or or between me and some of my staff, or where we're just shooting the shit about cheese. And so this has been honestly inspiring. I think it kind of brought my spark for this side of my business a lot more. So thank you. Honestly, I'm very grateful.
My pleasure.
This is cool.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that for now. I have a couple of quick fire questions, but please do not hesitate anytime if you have questions about content stuff or anything. I've been in the street 7 years.
Yeah.
And like it's a part of my life. So yeah, if I can help in any way, I'm happy to.
Man, I appreciate that. Thank you. That means a lot.
Okay, well, how long we've been going? Like a while. So I'm gonna fire off these quick.
Yeah, go for it.
And I'm sure they'll take. And I'm really curious about this first one. I hope you're never in this position, but if you were on death row, what would your last meal be?
Oh,
I'm gonna have some more.
I would have to go some kind of. I'd want caviar. I'd want foie gras. I'd want at least 5 different cheeses. 3 wouldn't be enough, and a steak. Like it would be a $300 fucking meal. It would be an expensive meal.
I hope so.
The prison would have to pull out another mortgage for it. No, but it would just be. I'd want good quality staples, like even oyster Rockefeller, like having a few good baked oysters, or even a few raw oysters, but having it would be a smorgasbord. It would be a board of stuff. It wouldn't be just a steak dinner. It would be. I want a nice prime rib steak with 30 gram of caviar and 3 lobes of foie gras that are seared to perfection with molten salt, and baguette crisp to perfection with the garlic rubbed on the baguette. You rub it after you toast it, and then you put it back into the broiler to get a little bit more crisp on that. Like it would be complicated.
I like the sounds of that.
Not that I've ever thought about it, but if I had the choice of eating whatever the heck I want, and it was my last, I would fucking go all out.
Do you have a caviar preference?
I can say I've tried a handful of caviars. The fancy, the price point does make a difference. Like you said, there's how did you say it? The value that comes with a price point.
Price is what you pay, value is what you get.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's Warren Buffett.
Yeah, and the thing is, it speaks true to caviar as well. I've had the pleasure of enjoying a few bites of a $700 tin of caviar. It was beluga, the highest end of the caviars you can get, and it was for a Christmas Eve party that I got the chance to cater, and it's like angel tears. It's like this beautiful texture and like this depth of flavor that's creamy and salty. And tastes like the ocean, but fresh ocean. And I've also had caviar that tastes more with a hint of fishiness, but brothy, more deep in flavor. And then there's lumpfish caviar, which is like, it's still okay. It still has its
entry
purpose.
Level.
Yeah, it's entry level, but... And I'm no connoisseur when it comes to caviar. I've only, like I said, tried not yet, maybe one day.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to dish out for a little meal or a little treat. Mm-hmm. But it's something that if you have the means to do it once a year, do it. It's fun. It's special.
You know what goes well with caviar?
What?
Oysters.
Oysters and caviar, hell yeah. So here's a little fact I want to just mention. I was the one who used to shuck oysters at Queen's Landing when they did the buck a shuck. So they did it for, I think, 5 years or so. I did it for 3 out of those 5 summers. So it was one of my favorite things to do. We would go anywhere between 250 oysters. The most we went through was near 800.
Wow.
And that's... for the most part, shucked by me. When we did 800, I had people helping me, but it's. I just love food. I love the showmanship of food. That's part of.
I've never shucked an oyster. I got to learn how to do it.
For shuck's sakes, I'll teach you.
I love it. Okay, what do you like on your pizza?
I'm a big Canadian pizza fan. Also, am cool with anchovies, like a good Italian style with like black olives and anchovies is cool. But that's more like, special when I'm out, if it's a really good pizza place, like Italian wood fire kind of thing.
Yeah.
But as a go-to, honestly, the Canadian, the mushroom, bacon, pepperoni. If it's cup and char, even better.
Nice.
But I honestly will also have to say I don't eat pizza that often. I tend to...
Not going to offend me.
That's okay. And we also have frozen pizzas that we sell at the store that are from France. So we have a truffle pizza, a tartiflette pizza where it has reblochon. Like it's these French flavor profile pizzas. There's no pepperoni on this shit.
Interesting.
It's quite neat. I've had a few of them. They're pretty good. They're still a frozen pizza, but they're pretty darn good quality for a frozen pizza. And the ingredients is where it's at with these pizzas.
I'll have to come in and try
you'll have to maybe check it out.
Well, I don't know. Favorite pizzeria? This isn't even on there.
Favorite pizzeria. I don't really have one. I'd have to say the most recent would be the one at Ost.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was really good. The dough was kick ass. This was a couple of years ago. An employee showed it to me, or we went there a couple times. In Port Colborne, Lakeside,
The Lock.
the Lock.
It's my favorite.
So the Lock is the dough is fucking amazing.
They use
like it's
double O flour from Italy.
Exactly, and it's a sourdough or something like that. The base is it?
I don't know,
but basically it's fucking delicious. It's really
fucking
freaking
delicious,
good.
yeah.
I went there before they had it in their building. They had the food truck on the outside. I brought them a burrata and I brought them a few cool ingredients, and we just shot the shit.
We're gonna do a collab one time, me, you, and them.
I'd love to. I would love to. So I've been in touch with them, but honestly, it's the opposite side of Niagara. It's hard to get out there sometimes.
It's the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's total.
Josh, Jeremy,
spectrum.
Tony, Peony, they're great.
Yeah, they're good people.
It's my favorite pizza.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Okay, so I'm okay with my.
Those are solid
choices. Good.
This is something we didn't talk about at all, but favorite kind or era of music.
Honestly, I'm quite diverse when it comes to my music. I find myself listening to country. I find myself listening to some of the modern stuff that that's on the radio, the top hits. Classic rocks was what I grew up going to school listening to. So I'd say it's quite diverse. As long as it's got a good rhythm and soul, and you feel good listening to it. I like it. I had a dubstep face too. EDM.
No doubt.
Love that drop.
No doubt. Here's a more deeper one. Meaning of life. At 32 years old, the meaning of life.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
As a parent, love, community, genuinity, being honest, being kind. That's something that a lot of people don't do these days.
Isn't it scary how that's a rare thing?
Yeah, being kind is something that to me is very important. There's no need to be an asshole. There's no need to, do the spiteful thing. Spite is one of the worst things. I fucking hate spite.
It is. It's terrible.
That's the one thing.
It's one of the most common emotions.
Yeah, and to me, it's one of the worst. But I would say love, compassion, as a parent, patience. I'm learning a lot of fucking patience. Seriously. It's, taking a deep breath. I have a 6-year-old daughter. So she was born just before we bought the cheese shop in May. And we bought the cheese shop in 2018 in September 1st. So, but just after the summer, basically.
What's her name?
Ezra Kameralal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she's my angel. She loves her gymnastics and can't wait to get into dance and theater.
What's her favorite cheese? Sorry.
Her favorite cheese. She doesn't like cheese as much as I wish she did.
Not yet.
I'm not going to push it on her.
She'll get there.
But she tried Five Brothers at a young age, and Five Brothers, I would say, is probably one of her favorites. She would also argue that because she's at that age where she likes to argue. But I used to have her come up to the customers or, come up behind the counter with me, and I'd be like, hey, this is Five Brothers. Hey, Ezra, how old is Five Brothers? 8 months. And then who makes the Five Brothers cheese? The cheesemaker's name is Shep. And,
it's amazing.
So little things like that. And she actually sold some lemonade during the summer. She made herself a good little bit of money. It's why I decided to put her in gymnastics. It's as a parent, I think patience is important. And community.
I like it. You could travel anywhere in the world. Where would you go?
France, Switzerland, New Zealand, and maybe Italy for a bit, but definitely Europe. Like I'm not going to die without at least spending 3 months in Europe just traveling. Like I wanted to do it in my youth. I wasn't able to.
You'll get there.
But eventually, I want to travel Europe. Yeah, Switzerland,
I think you would
France,
like it a lot.
Yeah.
Best piece of advice you can give anyone.
Be kind.
Goes along with the meaning of life.
Yeah, exactly. It goes along with, be kind.
Who played a big role in who you are today?
My family, my mother, my father. Some of the people that have passed. My 2 uncles and my grandfather. There's a sense of pride of being a business owner that and in food that from my grandfather. He used to be a baker. So one thing I do is cheese wedding cakes, and I don't get the opportunity to do it more than once or twice a year these days, but I need to promote that a bit more. But these wheels of cheese stacked up and then decorating them like a wedding cake, like having a trickling down grapes and flowers and different things. And just that artistic side of the cheese world of building a platter. It reminds me of my grandfather. And I think that might be a good one to talk about.
The people that I find that are the most genuine people answer it the same thing with parents or family with that answer.
Yeah, exactly. Or those who passed have motivated me. There's some idols, or people that I, look up to in the industry or that I've come in and out of my life throughout my career. But those are perspectives. The seed or the base of the values and the things that motivate me is definitely those family members or those people that are we're closer. Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it.
I like it. We're almost through it.
Yeah, no worries.
What do you want to be remembered for?
The good of things. No, but on a more serious note, I don't know. I'd say my kindness, my flavor, just having genuinity would be something I'd like to be remembered for. Being a little quirky from time to time. I think
good.
That kind of stuff.
I like that and appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. And it's a question I haven't pondered as much as I should, maybe.
No, it's all good. Yeah. I think a lot of people are scared to be themselves, and I like how you're not. That's a good thing.
Yeah, well, there is some anxieties there, I guess, where,
Yeah.
But it's about just being true to yourself, despite those anxieties or those worries about what people think and this and that, and I think that's a big part of it. And we all have that sense of, what is everybody else thinking? But there's something to be said about shaking that off and just being you. And it's not easy to do. A lot of
people have that problem. Yeah. Myself, it's not something that consumes me.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for a lot of people that
get sucked into that.
Yeah, it just puts them into such a small box. Yeah. Like, I think it's so important for people to be who they want to be. And if people don't like it, who fucking cares? That's
exactly it. And that's hard for a lot of people, and I can personally say for me, especially after the social media thing, and there's pressures in life, and it's about letting those be and not letting those affect how you act, right? And it's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy, especially now with social media and everything. Yeah. It's really easy for people to get put down and
being constantly bombarded with different perspectives and negativity, or this and that, and it's not always easy. Yeah,
I think that going back to you having family and good roots and everything helps fight through that, because people that don't have that, it's hard to build up the confidence to be able to handle today's world.
That's exactly it. There's so much out there, and then so much coming at you at once from social media, from your jobs, from your teachers, from your parents, and as a parent, that's one of the main reasons I fought so hard to make sure that me and my mother's child, we're not together anymore, but the importance of being a family was always so important, so having that levelness is a big thing, because for me, it was a bit different growing up, but I can also say both my mom and dad are now in my life, and that balance is fucking important. And as a parent, I see that.
Can't say it better myself.
Yeah. So
true. You're wise beyond your years.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I try my best.
2 more. I'll just go with 1 more. The last one.
Yeah, whichever.
No, actually, I got 2 more.
Yeah. Okay.
What would you do if you won $50 million?
Open a cheese factory in Niagara. Most likely closer to Niagara on Lake. The Niagara on Lake could use a dairy, but
you call the right choice to buy that area, by the way.
Absolutely. I've got a few areas in mind. There's that one right before Virgil. There's that business area. There's Dylan's. Not Dylan's. Limited Distillery in that little area. One of those buildings could be a great cheese factory. Just thinking. I'm always thinking. I'm out, when I'm driving around. But and then expand cheese secrets. One thing I'd want to do is invest accordingly. I've got, I think, a network that I'd like to tap into. I'm part of a Business Growers of Niagara, and there's an investment gentleman that is part of Edward Jones Investments. So I'd probably say, hey, almost half of this, more than half of this, put into my something, figure it out and make me money. And then take the other 20 million and just expand on what I already love and do. And, maybe donate a little bit. That's the right thing to say. But I would also say just, have more ease. I think having that comfort of having the cash flow, having the means to move forward on the projects that I'd like to would be amazing. I think it would be freedom of pushing forward the way I'd like. That's what that would bring me.
I love that your first answer was not hang it up and go lay on a beach. I love that your first thing was expansion.
I still want to play. I still want to and play as in like do me, do the cheese thing, be a business owner, be an entrepreneur. I don't want to sit on the beach and do nothing until I fully retire, or maybe for a month here and there, a year, that'd be nice. But I don't want to be sitting around, getting
Doesn't that sound boring?
It sounds fucking boring, It really does.
Yeah, I know.
There's only so much, beach time you can have or food you can enjoy sitting, it's...
I love that.
Yeah, there's a sense of pride and fulfillment you get from achieving things and working hard that it's worth it.
So this isn't on there or anything, but to me, what that answers is that you're living a really good life, because we know there's a lot of fulfilling things being entrepreneurs, but a lot of super challenging, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of those things. But the fact that you answered it like that sounds to me like you're living how you'd want to live, regardless of
things. I think there'd be a little bit more luxury or ease or less questions or stress about what we're doing next month or how we're going to handle all these things that we're doing. But that would just be different if the money was there. Or, it wouldn't be gone. I recognize that money is not just the fucking solution of it all.
No,
that's for sure.
Definitely not.
It makes it maybe easier. It makes it new problems too. It probably, so
it definitely, And see, I love it because somebody asked me something along that, this line at some point, and I told them my life wouldn't change a lot because I would still wake up in the morning. I would still work. I would still exercise. I would still eat.
Yeah.
I would still be trying to get some stuff done. And they didn't believe me. They're like, your life would be so much different. I'm like, what? Maybe I live in a different house. Maybe
I have more people at my disposal to help me achieve more network, more camaraderie, more, means to build that community.
Yeah.
I'd be more able to expand, to do more good.
But it's not going to change dramatically with what you're waking up and still doing the same thing. It's just, it's a little bit different.
Exactly. It wouldn't be a different world, or, I wake up one morning, I got 50 million, a whole new world. It's like,
exactly.
No, I'm not becoming, Elon Musk or shit like that, or,
Yeah. Might have caviar once in a while more often.
Exactly. Maybe caviar once a month now. But that'd be, I'd also probably try to sell more caviar. I'd probably try to carry a vaster variety and have a caviar department.
Exactly.
It would just be different. It wouldn't change everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
Bro, you got your head on good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
A lot better than a lot of other 32-year-olds I've talked to.
Yeah? Thank you.
Okay, last one. This one's kind of easy too. I think this is the last one. This is your favorite movie.
I guess favorite. I don't really have a favorite movie per se, but the most recent movie would be Gladiator, like the original Gladiator. I watched the second one recently, and a few days ago I watched the original, and I was like, "Fuck, that was just great cinema." Just the way, and it was shot so much differently than the new one. So comparing the two was interesting. Gladiator would be one. Growing up, I really liked School of Rock. that was one that Jack Black. Yeah, it was. That's one of my, I guess, childhood or teenagehood.
That's where some
movies.
of the quirky comes from.
Yeah, that's where some of the quirkiness, the rock and roll. I don't know, whatever. But you know what I mean. Just and then Yeah, I don't.
I know.
Those would be the two that
kind
kind of stand out. Lion King, I fucking love the Lion King. You know, watching that with my daughter was definitely one that I enjoyed.
Every time I look at the undercarriage of a pizza and I'm holding it up, I think of Simba from Lion King. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. I'd say those were the ones that come to mind right now.
Yeah, solid.
It always changes.
Solid. Bro, I think we covered
quite a bit.
A lot of
Honestly,
goodness.
I'm quite happy with this. This was a lot of fun. You know,
We covered
it made
a lot
me
of
think. It's, you know, I got to show off some of the stuff I got. You know, educate. You know, hopefully this teaches a few people about dairy, about food, and you know,
I learned a bunch.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That means a lot.
If you ever want to do this again, if you ever like want to highlight something, these don't always have to be 3 hours. We could
always do a small. Yeah. Okay. Because I think it'd be fun to do something around the grilled cheese. Maybe,
I'm happy to.
Around maybe specific products that you know want to highlight. Or
exactly.
we could let me mull over it and we'll see what we could do.
Yeah. If you want to do it again, we can do shorter, longer, whatever. I'm happy to have you again. Right. This will always be stationary. I don't know if I'll ever get on the road or not.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a whole different thing. Could happen, but if you ever want to talk about anything here, I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm also happy to share any of my network of people. I'm happy to help you with business, anything. We're definitely going to talk at some point about having some type of catered event.
Yes, if I could help with some good cheesy needs.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Like, you said that you'll actually come to it, or is that
I
not
could come to
normal,
it for you. I'll come to it. I'll help set the table or the whatever it is, the smorgas. Most of it will be pre-assembled, and then I just show up and make sure it looks great. And if you're willing to have me for the event, I'll just make sure that I mingle, and then I'll make sure that my station looks beautiful. I'll make sure it looks nice the whole evening.
Yeah, we'll talk about doing that at some point.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the right crowd. And
yeah, absolutely.
People want to find you. You're located, you said, in Niagara on the Lake.
Yeah, 38 Market Street.
And online, the website is
cheesesecrets.ca or .com. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's double check. I think it's .com. I think my mother wanted it to be .ca, but it ended up being .com.
It's all good. It's funny because I get that with my because I'm .ca and you are .com.
.com. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. cheesesecrets.com. Instagram.
Cheese Secrets Marché, which is market in French.
TikTok.
Cheese Secrets or cheese_secrets_Niagara.
Okay, so that's where you can find you. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is part of all that stuff with giving suggestions. At some point when you go back to the drawing board, make all of your handles the same across all platforms.
Yeah, it's going to make it much easier. It used to be Cheese Secrets Niagara across the whole thing, but then our Instagram Cheese Secrets Niagara got hacked and this and that. So
find the same one. It's good for Google. It's good for people. It's good for everything. So,
it's consistency. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But that's where they can find you on those. If they want to reach out to you, they come to the store, they call. Yeah. I'm sure there's an email.
Yeah. Cheese Secrets Inc. is the main one at gmail.com.
Beautiful. Bro, this was amazing.
This has been fun. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I'm full. I don't even have to have dinner tonight. You just fed me.
That's awesome.
All right. Awesome.